fundamentally a evil hero. I mean, he's just a bad person.
Destroys Omni.
No, he doesn't
Radiant or
destroy
Dire?
Omni Knight.
Huh? Is he a Radiant or is he a Sentinel or Scourge in Dota 1?
What?
Oh.
How old are you people?
Well, because of his lore. Is lore good or bad?
What? You don't do Dota 1 lore and Dota... Stop talking, man. Just stop talking. But no, Rubik is disgusting. When you pick Rubik, you're basically saying the enemy is going to mess up and I'm going to capitalize on that.
This started off as a nice conversation of
Yeah.
which hero is the MVP of this tournament. Purge, have you got any better ideas?
I think Mirana's been pretty big in a lot of games.
Yep.
It's like Quap and Centaur have had pretty good win rates too. I think Centaur's been a hero that's been surprisingly strong. Heroes that are sometimes okay in the offlane, but also have a lot of lane pressure potential, and Centaur is clearly one of those.
Yeah, it's been playing a lot. Well, not played a lot, I think 5 times.
Yeah, something around there.
Could be Meepo too.
Meepo,
Only lost the
Underlord.
1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Rubik's only lost 2, maybe 1 or 2. I can't remember exactly, but it's definitely was.
Sometimes okay in the
5
offlane,
out of
but also
5.
have a lot of
I don't
lane.
know that much.
Yeah,
I guess probably the most disappointing
pressure
big
potential,
pick
and
has
Centaur is
probably been
clearly one of
Slardar.
those.
Yeah, it's been playing a lot.
Yeah, he's had a pretty
Well,
low
not played a
win
lot, I think
rate,
5 times.
Yeah, same thing with
Could be
Meepo,
Meepo, too.
Meepo,
Only lost the
Underlord.
1. Yeah.
He'll
Yeah.
get some momentum.
Yeah,
Everybody
and I
will
think
say, oh,
Rubik's
Slardar is
only
the hero,
lost
and then every team will pick him.
Maybe
Some team
1 or
has
2.
to lose at the turn,
Okay.
and that's really going to affect win rates in a lot of ways. Whereas
I
the
remember
better
exactly,
teams will
but
know the right
it's
time to
definitely
pick.
was.
Sometimes okay in the
5 out
offlane,
of
but also
5.
have a lot of
I
lane.
know that much.
So many teams
And
are just
I guess
hoping
probably the
with
most
Slardar
disappointing
when it was pressure potential
pick
Centaur against the enemy heroes, and that makes a big impact.
Probably
Just clearly one of those.
Yeah, it's been playing a lot.
Yeah, he's had a pretty low
Well, played a lot, I
win
think
rate.
5 times.
Could be Meepo.
Meepo,
Only lost the
Underlord.
1. Yeah.
He'll get some momentum.
And I think Rubik's only lost.
And then every
I
team
think
will pick
Focus
him.
probably
Maybe
Some team
1 or
has to
2.
lose at the turn,
Okay.
and that's really going to affect win rates in a lot of ways. Whereas
I
the
remember
better
can't do cross-wex anymore. But actually,
exactly,
but
right
it definitely was.
sometimes okay in the offlane, but also have a lot of
I
lane.
know that much.
So many teams
And
are just
I guess
focusing
probably the most
on
disappointing
pressure potential Centaur against the enemy heroes, and that makes a big impact. Just clearly one of those.
Yeah, it's been playing a lot. Well, played a lot, I think 5 times.
Could be Meepo really doing that. So I think that was more of a meta thing. We may still see him more though.
Yeah, it was definitely countering on the Ember in that game. It was a big game, indeed. As we head into this first game, Kevin, we're going to put you in charge of Newbee. What are you saying? Clean draft for game 1?
Well, based on the last series, I think it's clear they're thinking about looking for Draw Ranger. It seems a bit weird for me, just because it does give you the potential for your opponents to overtrade, but it also gives your other matchups a lot of advantage. It gives you more options for your ranged hero picks. Like Dusa, for example, by herself, kind of a slightly bad hero, I would say, but with Draw Ranger, it's actually very respectable. So I think it gives them a lot of draft options. It may force their opponents to react to that, but if DC was paying attention at all in the last 3 hours, they're going to have something ready.
You'd expect. So Ben, we're going to put you in charge of DC's pre-draft talk. What are you going to tell them?
I think get as many free wins as you can, but sometimes a free win for them, it just straight puts you up 1 game in a best of 5, which is a big deal. Omni Knight, I think, is also one that they can sneak in, get a free win with in Meepo, and I think they.
Dire team pick.
Team fight ults, but we've been seeing a lot of these kind of big players with the Echo Slams and all that Or do you think people still kind of avoid picking
10
those
seconds
big spelled
remaining.
heroes?
Pretty much just Enigma, I think, is the main
Disruptor.
one. Maybe Bane too, but no one picks Bane anymore. Tidehunter, you can easily get spell right after.
Okay.
Most of the other ones too. We don't see Faceless Void anymore, so those are kind of just like, eh.
Depressing.
It's just a couple of heroes, basically.
Yeah.
The other stuff that Rubik does is already pretty good. The only place that I think he's really weak right now is if he's in an aggro try and you lose the
10
tri lane, he
seconds
seems awful.
remaining.
He's terrible at catching up, doesn't have very much damage output.
GPM.
He's terrible
Hey.
until 6, which is way before 10, so yeah,
Sorry.
that's
No
fine.
I gotta say though, I'm not happy. I am very happy that Slardar is losing games lately. I mean, he's up on his high horse. He just got that cosmetic thing. He's
looks
looking
great.
real sexy.
It does look great.
It's good to take him down a peg, you know? I mean, good. Make him sad again, like when he was ugly.
I mean,
You don't even know what he was before.
He was beautiful on the inside, but now he's beautiful on the outside. And I'm jelly.
Anyway,
Anyway.
got a couple more bans in second phase. Naga's gone and the TA's gone as well.
I like the Disruptor pick by Newbee just because it helps. It's very effective against kind of escapable heroes, really. It kind of makes DC a little bit scared to pick something like Marana or Ember Spirit, things like that.
10
And
seconds
it's pretty variable. It's
remaining.
good at laning, gives them tri-lane options. Both drafts are very safe right now. They don't really reveal anything,
Remaining.
just some small nuances.
Yeah.
Can I do say that I really like the Disruptor pick, especially against Juggernaut? I mean, I feel like whoever gets the drop on the other hero, whoever really gets in there first, is the one that's going to have that big advantage. And it's kind of a real fun. In Dota, sometimes we have rock, paper, scissors. These guys are 2 rocks. Just depends on the situation that they meet.
I agree, but it super counters Glimpse, obviously.
Yeah.
I think that's a big
10
lacking
seconds
in that Disruptor.
remaining.
When ganking Jug pretty much means whenever he's initiating, it always has to be somebody initiating with an instant disable, and he has to ulti on top of that.
Man, they've taken out all the cheese. The Meepo, Naga, and Omni Knight, I think those are the 3 heroes in particular that DC used that are way better than other teams.
Ben, and your team talk was a failure now.
They don't, well, at least Newbie, they just want a straight up game. They don't. It doesn't necessarily mean that
remaining.
it's a failure for DC. It's just that they might not have good enough counters, or
5
comfortable enough
seconds
counters versus these.
remaining.
Sure.
There's got to be more cheese somewhere, though.
Oh, speaking of more cheese, there we go.
Well, how about a great big lump of cheese?
The last game that we played on Pudge was amazing.
Yeah.
And I would say
Was.
it's pretty good against Slaughter. It's good against Disruptor, saving allies that get sent back. It's great offensively, too.
10
Yeah,
seconds
I'm a little interested to see how they're going to be able to have something that stands up to that. I mean, they don't really have, I guess they do have a pretty decent amount of damage so far, but you got to take a lot to take that big guy down. How are they going to answer all that meat?
I don't think that's really the question. You should say it's more what can they have that's going to be survivable against getting hooked. And Quap is the best for that. It was something that Newbee actually used very successfully against VP in the first time they matched up. If you're trying to gank a Quap, it doesn't matter if you hook her; she'll just blink away.
Magic Immunity is
Wow.
the best, especially instant cast.
So despite the junk, they have gone Lifestealer anyway.
It's because Lifesteal is extremely good against a Pudge.
Yeah.
You,
Counters in many ways.
You kind of want to get hooked.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, I don't need to get
Please
delivered.
bring me in so I can destroy you.
It's like 2 cannibals,
10
right? So
seconds
he's not grossed out by eating.
remaining.
He already eats dead flesh anyway. So
Yeah. That is graphic, but very accurate, sir. Well done.
look at those chompers.
Nom, nom, nom. So, why is it good though? Because Pudge has this very reliable BKB piercing stun, which is kind of like Steeler's #1 thing.
You don't want to eat him during rage.
Yeah, because then you're
Because
not.
rage is super long.
Yeah, you're disabling him. That's it.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah, but then when it ends, he's gonna kill you in like
Yeah.
5 hits. That's the issue.
Oh.
And you're out of spells. You can't rot even because.
And if Slardar's there or Disruptor's there, they're gonna cancel your stun and then they'll kill you anyways.
And he just, if you take any damage during the dismember, you'll just leech it all back because Pudge has high health and low armor, which is what Lifestealer feasts on.
Okay, so we've had 4 bans each. We're into the second phase of the draft #1. And we've got a Lifestealer on one side, Punch the other side. Where are Digital Chaos going next?
They used to run Pudge Alchemist a lot. This was back in the prior patch, but it was just at any time you would go into Alchemist while he was farming, they would just hook him back. I don't know if they want to do something like that. It's not really, it doesn't really suit this patch's style. However,
Well, these guys are taking a long time thinking about their next pick here.
I mean, this pick is huge. If whatever gets picked is gonna set the tone for the rest of the match because
Yep.
everything's fairly even right now. So it's gonna reveal what they want to do. It's kind of a disadvantageous place to be here.
yeah, maybe they could just grab something simple though. Like
Legion
Axe,
Commander.
I would say is like a fairly
Or
Is that
Legion
Legion
Commander,
Commander?
which has
Legion's
not been
good.
banned, has been banned a lot this tournament, hasn't been played an awful lot.
It's a good counter against Lifestealer. It's kind of the point that Slax is making about Pudge ulti. It's a better version of that, and it allows you to kill the Lifestealer.
And it's really good versus Slardar, too. Yeah, like, now they actually have a way to deal with the Slardar bomb. So
And they can remove explosive haste from people too, press the attack, or it's a lot of great things.
So this is one of the few games that actually has not seen the Storm banned out from Digital Chaos. Most of the other mid heroes that Newbee typically plays are out of the pool. However, they don't have a Drow Ranger, so maybe a little bit less appetizing for them. His other pool includes OD, Invoker, I would say, are his main ones.
I kind of feel like Newbee just goes for more teamfight picks here, because I already feel like Disruptor ultis on, like, if they catch 2 heroes in it, the teamfight's one, it feels like to me. So maybe something that just allows them to run over their opponents.
This might sound weird. Can I throw this out there though? Seen a lot of strength, I've seen a lot of meat. Timber Saw, do people like that hero anymore?
KP plays it sometimes. I think it might be a little bit weird for their roles though, just because they almost always put KP on Slaughter and U9 doesn't really play Timber. He plays the IT heroes in the mid.
The OD's great though. It's kind of a hero that kind of fits in their lineup just fine, but it's defensive in that he can banish his allies. So covers against Legion extremely well, and covers against Pudge kind of too if he has some mobility. But until he gets like a blink or a force, it could be really iffy. He's not always the most consistent against Pudge.
Well, one more going out here. Oh, Winter Wyvern banned out? Pretty odd.
Great counter against Legion, one of the best. Great against Omni Slash on Juggernaut as well. Completely makes sense.
Oh, it does. Why? What makes it good against Legion?
If you duel somebody, you can make him do no damage to Legion.
Well, what is that? I mean, you still stun him, Purge. Don't
Stun your ally. With, you know, the ice thing?
Ice thing?
No physical damage.
Who plays that hero? I don't remember what the hell that thing does. I'm glad it's banned out.
It's had some good wins here.
Okay.
Has been used very well, and the Razor's gone as well.
Worried about the mid matchup.
Yeah.
What other mid heroes are good versus OD? TA is like okay, it's not great.
It's bad.
Yeah, Viper.
Yeah.
They get Viper.
SF?
They did it before.
Yeah, good Viper.
Yeah.
They did a cool Viper build earlier. I wouldn't say it's great against Lifestealer, though. It's a little scary, and it's not good against Slardar either. I don't think it's likely, but they might feel forced into it. That's a possibility. They're also, I mean, all their catches pretty much reliant on. It's okay. Pudge, Legion, Rubik, they can hit towers. Fine. So I think they just worry about the matchup in team fights, I guess.
Oh, Sand King coming.
How do they like that wrap up?
That was really good. So now they have multiple ways to get kills off.
Some people don't like it versus the Rubik, however, giving him burrow strikes a pain in the butt. But yeah, it gives them team fight, which they sorely lacked. Nothing to follow up after Disruptor.
Yeah, the OD is not very good for that, except for the banish. I like the Sanking. Their Slaughter can initiate on Jug, Sanking can initiate. It's another hero that can, if somebody gets hooked by Pudge, he can blink forward, burrow strike away, disabling the Dismember.
Just like that drafts in general. I mean, very well-rounded there. It feels like really Newbee can do anything that they want, you know? They can put a lot of power in, they got a lot of team fight. I mean, they got a lot of single target burst. I mean, this is looking pretty darn good. What could Digital Chaos pull out here to kind of round this out in 5 seconds?
So BKB carry, I think, is what they have to go for now. There's too many disables on our BKB mid.
I think Invoker could also work too. I like it with the Legion Commander,
But I think it's a little too vulnerable to their jump on Newbie's side, but
yeah.
Ooh, Shadowfield.
yeah, that'll solve
So
it.
he's one of the better matches versus OD. There's not that many left, and
I like it. I thought it rounded out nice.
Alright, thank you very much, all three of you. We'll hear more from our analysts, of course, after game one. But it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for the grand final. Let's pass you over to our commentary team for the grand final. It is Capitalist and Toby One.
That is right, it is time for the grand final. Newbee versus Digital Chaos. Who will be the champions of ESL 1? Capitalist, I pose the question to you.
I don't know, this first draft is pretty tough. Digital Chaos got some pretty focused heroes that they seem to like. They've got the Pudge on their side as well as the Juggernaut. That's going to be a tough laning phase situation to face up against, but Newbee do have this very powerful combination. Lifestealer plus Slardar plus Sand King. You've got two different kinds of initiators, and they both set up Disruptor really well.
And so, Digital Chaos, everything looks great for Newbee. Can DC actually hold them back from all these critical items? Things of
the offlane thing here, we were kind of talking about, is Sand King actually going to be the support? Because most of the time we've seen in these situations, Slardar is the one to transition into the 4 role, but he will be the offlane, and his Blink Dagger is definitely key.
Oh, that early ward's not going to get... Observer ward in behind that secret shop on the top lane.
I mean, classic Digital Chaos. You look at their 2 supports, right? The Rubik as well as the Pudge, both very good at roaming heavily, so the Newbee really wanted to be able to get some aggressive wards down that would not be countered, that would see this movement of the supports around the map.
Oh, and DC, like the second this goes off, is that smoke going to break? No, Disruptor, he did. He actually broke it on the Rubik. So Unine will see him coming forward. With the Rubik, it's so easy to contest up the runes. But what do you do, Newbee? You're so split. You've already got KP on one of them. You can probably just let it go because SC as well as KP will claim one of them.
If anything, it might be Newbee that actually manages to take 3. If they successfully push DC away from this aggressive attempt at a bounty rune, they're going to be able to get 3 out of 4 of these bounty runes.
Boon's not going to get down to the Radiant Jungle rune in time. KP's actually being very defensive behind the trees. But with the Crush, he's got no issues. Like, he knows he can control up Moon and pick up that rune.
What a hard part that we kind of talked about it. It was like, is Sand King going to be an offlaner? The only reason, I think, a big reason to make the Sand King the offlaner in this case is because of the fact that you have this potential 1v1 with the Legion Commander that DC want to be able to set up. And I think that Sand King would very clearly be the better 1v1 hero thanks to Caustic Finale. Slunder's going to have a tougher time, but he will use that net worth potentially better. His Blink Dagger initiation is going to be pretty key, especially with the Lifestealer.
Yeah, if he can get that, and then the combination with the Disruptor to follow up, it could be a very beautiful time for Newbee. But now, we do actually have the Sand King sitting up with the Disruptor on the top lane, just staring down Resolution, just trying to get the momentum with his creep wave back close to the relative safety of the Tier 1 tower.
Yeah, this is the real nasty part. You think about Pudge and you think, okay, he's a roaming hero. Aggressive tri-lanes are less likely, but in this situation, aggressive tri-lane with the Pudge is very strong because Pudge is able to do this really gimpy mechanic where he can use the meat hook to be able to pull these neutrals across and actually pull the off lane, which is rather unusual, right? But it's only Pudge who can do something like that.
Yeah, I think the only other person we've seen try and do it in this competition is Earth Spirit was one. But yeah, now we're actually seeing this in action. And this will drag the creep wave back again, and U9, interesting to see how Newbee will then react to this. Like, they're doing a pull of their own, they're taking care of that, and it's already a double stack, so the momentum's not going to hugely shift, but it's a lot of denied experience to this tri-lane.
Yeah, we really have to think about maybe doing some sort of invasion with the 2 supports now that they realize this is happening. Conversely, maybe you try and focus on doing a bit of pulling your own, but I don't think you're going to be anywhere nearly as effective as the Pudge will be.
And you know this crowd's excited during a grand final when you're applauding Skeleton by Misery.
Successfully get the pull, man.
There is one upside to this bottom lane which has been going on. So KP is taking a lot of damage from the Legion Commander. He said it wasn't really going to be a favorable matchup, but 2 minutes in, he already triggers off the Shrine. So it takes a fair chunk of damage, and this is because he's running boots only. There's no down, there's no nothing like that. He's only got 1 tango left as well to run this lane.
Yeah, Legion Commander just wins most 1v1s because of Moment of Courage. This free bit of harassment and lifesteal that is given to you is just able to beat out most of these melee heroes. They're going to be challenging you. So, but again, like KP's going to make better use of the net worth that he's given.
Mid lane, Kaka's going to make a bit of a way in. There's still a level 1 Burrow Strike, and he can't get himself in range in time. He was a long way up the stairwell. He didn't know if there was going to be an observer ward there, which one actually doesn't exist. They only have the high ground vision. Now up on top, he's having to grab Blue9, pull back him, the Rage protected, but now Misery limps him away. Try and get a little bit of space here, but the spin Resolution doesn't need the power. He's inside for the course. He's very low. Kaka's waiting now. The Burrow Strike. It will be revenge. But you still got first blood in the Digital Chaos, and it was against Lifestealer.
Yeah, I think that Digital Chaos actually played that so well. Misery trying to do a bit of body blocking and then being able to hit the hook right before the glimpse. Very nicely played. You see already the way that Newbee are using this 4-position Sand King. The only time that we've really seen Sand King as a successful support is usually when he has some sort of setup ability, and most of the time that was a 5-position Shadow Demon. But here, thanks to the OD, he actually can have some rotational power against Weehaw, thanks to the imprisonment setup.
He just needs the movement speed. Like now he's going to pick up the boots, so that movement speed's going to be there for Kaka to close the distance.
He may also want to be able to use a smoke. If the next time the lane pushes in and they go for this pull, that you smoke up as maybe even just the Sand King and show the Disruptor still in lane, they can easily get that gank on Weehaw and set the Shadow Fiend back a serious amount.
What a nice time to get a fresh Observer Ward down, seeing the very big invasion coming from the Rubik as well as the Pudge. Juggernaut, I mean, Lifesteal seem to be very happy just to run down. If Kaka can get that Burrow Strike down, then they have potential for kills.
This is going to be a Lifestealer so set back. He is going to have a hard time being able to get his phase moves, I feel like. This power of the DC, they've got these multiple abilities that are going to be able to just kind of war rage. You've got the hook, you've got Juggernaut with his Omni Slash that is going to be able to focus down the Lifestealer. And you've also got the potential combination with... Good attempt there, Zakta, but not good enough to take that back.
Well, he's got friends. Weehan's in the neighborhood. We don't have another controlling factor, so Kaka's just going to use the Burrow Strike to try and outrun them. With SC in the neighborhood, Kaka shouldn't get anywhere near death.
Yeah, certainly not. He's going to force the two supports over, and they may still try and do the wraparound here.
That level 2 hook's in range. He can reach Kaka. Kaka's going to see him, and there goes your hook. Kaka dodges it inside the tree line. SC starts up with the imprisonment. You've got Burrow Strike into Sandstorm. So Senki wants to do it. He's looking up, but he actually changes targets, looking towards the Rubik. SC, there's no real damage, and Kaka, he has to go inside the Sandstorm. Fate's going to help out the hook, actually dragging Fate in closer, and Pudge, Misery's in trouble. The damage will be enough. Actually, maybe it won't be from just that imprisonment, but nope, it is. Misery will fall, and they'll trigger off the shrine, so all the damage that was done is completely negated.
Yeah, Misery was hoping to be able to get up into that high ground so that he could try and rot himself to death, but unfortunately gets caught by the imprisonment just before he gets out of sight. Good attempt there by, I think, Newbee very smartly making that turn with the TP rotation. Again, the downside is KP is just repeatedly being abused. He's already had to go back to base once. He's also used that opposite line, as you pointed out. And Moon Meander, he's got himself phase boots, and he's going to have a very early armlet at this rate.
Having another crack at mid, but the Hawk pulling Weehar out. The advantage of imprisonment sets up for Newbee, but also sets up for Misery, and SC raising, but oh! The Burrow Strike is there! And goodbye, Wee. Glimpse back into death. That early point up, basement for on the third level to have the second point up in Glimpse.
Very smart use of the Observer Ward placed out. That's probably going to be read by Digital Chaos, but well worth it. You can go ahead and lose that Observer Ward, but it gave them the vision necessary to be able to get that Glimpse.
Killing an SF is definitely something you'll take. Interesting to see when rotation comes this bottom lane, because Moon is walking around with that door, so he needs a little bit of help to make that kill happen.
Yeah, Legion Commander is particularly good at being able to scale even better now in 7.0 thanks to the increase in talents. At level 25 you get plus 40 dual damage when you win a duel, so it's that's pretty interesting, but it's also the fact that Legion Commander already scaled pretty well if you can get the armlet first into the later Blink Dagger. This is what Moon's plan is.
Open Wounds Resolution will spin it off. And that Observer Ward, KP's got to get out of here. They know that, actually, they may not know that SK is there until now, as he walks on top of the shrine. But they'll realize that SK is actually leaving, so KP is all by himself. Rubik walks forward, but no, he can't reach him. It's a level 1 telekinesis. He doesn't have that range just yet, even with the movement speed from Boots.
And it may be mid that dies instead. Weehan's going to go ahead and bounce back to his Radiant. This is a frequent neutral camp that is going to be farmed up by SS when they feel uncomfortable with where their lane is right now. And Weehan, his spidey senses are tingling.
Yeah, he knows something is up. And Kaka is looking for something as well. He's just hoping to also leech out that experience. Already with a roaming SK, 7 minutes in, you've hit level 5. Now you're going to see the rotation of Resolution. So you know there's some heavy movement coming from the DC lanes, but they won't see this Pudge coming over as well. Like, if they can. Actually, no, the Dire Observer, it did actually get the vision of him.
Man,
under the cover of smoke is difficult.
This is super awkward. We've got this weird standoff in the mid lane, but Juggernaut has abandoned that offlane scenario that we were looking at earlier, and he's so far behind in CS now. And they haven't quite finished up with Moon Meander. I think he'd like to be able to actually complete his armlet before he rotates anywhere out of this lane. So they're actually going to try and set up a gank for me. He's going to get out of here.
TP's ball coming, double TP, the duel will begin. Is he happy enough? No, he's not. Moon will find the kill, but against the Burrow Strike from Kaka, bringing in SC. They'll have an extra imprisonment. Dragging Resolution back. He already used his spin to help get the kill. Moon, not enough damage to find him. Kaka, not enough mana. He can't Burrow Strike, so we have to go back between the towers to find the other kill, which will happen on Resolution.
He's almost there. Kaka, he has the clarity. He almost has the burst strike.
Glad to go blind. Where is it? There's the press the attack. Kaka, he's up. Is he getting? No! He burst strike the wrong area. Maybe he didn't get the vision over on Moon. Now Moon needs to turn around and find this one. If they can wait it out another 13 seconds, he can get the dual damage if he wants it. But Kaka into the trees, running away. Support's coming in from U9. This will keep Misery away, but Moon is still on the chase. Phase boots on cooldown, and he's going to give it up for the moment. All willing, U9, the attack, Moon down to 300, but the TP will be successful.
I think that was a very risky maneuver by DC against this team in particular. Newbee are particularly good at being able to always have TPs and always be able to reactively rotate to be able to deal with a certain overextension, certain ganks like that. And DC committing so heavily behind that tier 1 tower, and often especially with the tier 1 and tier 2 are rather close together, and that Schmidt one, Newbee's just, their TP rotations were beautiful.
Does he have the movement speed to catch up? The crush is available. With that haze on him, he's going to hit the crush. One more hit, he needs one more hit, he's got it. But maybe the punishment can be there for proving. Movement speed, KP going the run on bottom lane. A denial out from Misery as he got attacked underneath that tier 1 tower. But KB is away.
Sad times for Digital Chaos. They just lost what is supposed to be their kind of, 2 position, I guess, in this situation. Juggernaut, he's had such a bad laning phase. Now he dies to the Slardar. They rotate heroes, so can't actually get the kill. And Newbee is actually pressuring that bottom lane all the meanwhile. So they have so much space to work with, and they're actually still punishing DC and the 1 heroes that they're clumped up at.
And this time, it just doesn't look good for DC. Like, OD's also having the time of his life, and then after already having that hand at minus, maybe they can punish the KP. As Rubik will pick him up, Moon has the duel available, trying to wrap around the back of it, and KP walking him, but he gets crushed from the other side. Thanks to Crew Wave was there, he saw it, so they'll imprison. This allows, again, Newbee to position nicely. Phase could hit the ult if he wants to, but no, he's got another crush. There is Misery 2 with the glimpse back. Now they'll commit up the storm as he's coming over with the auto damage. Misery doesn't really stand a chance. Another high level imprisonment, and he'll hop the second he appears back into the world of living. Obviously dead.
He's got a mega kill streak already. It's 10 minutes into this game, and this guy's a beast. He's sitting at 5,000 net worth 10 minutes into the game. It's easily going to break 10 by 20, and that's just such a bad sign for a hero. Like, OD is not one of the strongest heroes in the early game, but he's very rad. He's going to scale later on.
Res has spin as well as the Omni Sniper. He's going to put down the healing wall to start with. Moon, well, he's going to run in, but all he's got is the armlet now is infested inside the, is inside the melee creep of the Radiant side. So pushing out the wave is just going to allow the Lifestealer to hang around here for a while.
Yeah, they start heavily going for the denies. It's just that one last melee creep.
Wait, no, freedom. Freedom. They're worried. They're worried support is coming, but they don't actually have any vision on the bottom river area. And he's actually trying to last hit with this creep. Yeah, no more of that.
Yeah, they had a 3-man smoke rotation coming in from Newbee. Digital Chaos. until he picked up level 14. And Kaka, he was kind of waiting for his Blink Dagger to come up, so at level 10, he'll finally have Epicenter. That big increase. I don't know how DC actually deals with this. I think they were hoping to be able to fight, before the OD had his ultimate, ready to go. A lot of ODs like to wait a little bit until they pick up that big team fight ultimate because they knew their enemies are stronger. And they also knew that the Blink Dagger from the SK wasn't back up, and that is a huge increase in team fight power. So I think they felt a little compelled to try and take fights against Newbee anyway. But now I think it's a near impossibility. DC have to play a lot more of a split push and pickoff game than anything else.
Yeah, and that's going to be really difficult because who do you split push and then pick off? Like SC's now going to have his maneuverability. There's that second Blink Dagger we're talking about. And Faith can always just send somebody back. So if you're going to pick someone off, you're going to come with like heavy numbers because you are not leading this. They do the Blink Dagger from Moon. They have an extra chance, but they'll have to jump onto SC. They cannot allow that infliction to be there, or else you're just going to lose. Even then, like Kaka can bring in the Burrow Strike, have the Storm. And Moon just loses the fight and gives more damage to an OD.
I guess maybe DC do have some chances against Newbee when it comes to a team fight as long as they're playing defense because they can rely on the Pudge Hook as the form of initiation. If they can actually pull a Newbee member out of position, they stand a chance.
Well, they need to have that vision. Newbee's still looking for that Observer Wall that lets Misery do his hook. They don't find Forest Strike on Misery. Faith gets the wall up. He's still got Glimpse available. They'll see Misery. They will pull him back in. Trying to stop the KP. Still no Storm. They don't need it just yet. The Misery will fall. Meanwhile, SC just runs straight into the middle of the rest of DC.
Yeah, he knew he could get the extra catch. That should be a death. Oh, nice strike.
It was stolen by the Rubik. It gives him the space. Back behind the tier 2 tower. Quick press the attack. Up from Moon is giving a little bit of intimidation, but on bottom lane, Weeha's done a lot of damage. He's still got that Blink Dagger, so a lot of confidence just to jump to the tree line and TP out. And it's at 18 minutes that Weeha enters the base and starts doing damage to the tier 3 tower. Newbee are not coming back yet. They're sticking around. It's like they want to have this fight and then deal with Wee.
Yeah, a little bit of chip damage on their tier 3 tower isn't the end of the world if they can get a really good initiation in this top lane, but it just doesn't happen. They're finally going to be forced back. DC, that was an interesting approach, right? They went for this smoke and this aggressive maneuver into the dire jungle while at the same time Weeha was heavily pushing out that bottom lane thanks in part to the Blink Dagger. It was, again, a very risky maneuver, but I think it's something that DC had to take. Either Newbee were going to rotate some heroes to stop the SF, in which case that smoke rotation would be very successful into the dire jungle, or they were going to run into some heroes of Newbee, get caught, and that's exactly what happened. Misery, but it bought a ton of space for Weeha to be able to operate in bottom.
Man, you look for it. You look for the split push. That's exactly what you got. But that reclaiming Aegis in 2 minutes, that's the last little bit of a window that Newbee have to try and maybe force the fight, but every time they're running around, they're running underneath DC vision. Their Observer Wards have seen all of Newbee's movements.
Digital Chaos, the one saving grace of this game has to be their ward game.
Oh, maybe if this Blink no steal this time from Resolution. The Burrow Strike falls from Kaka. They get a successful kill, and this will finally allow them to remove the final tier 1.
Oh, nice. Oh, they're going to get the goal on the KP. But they're going to try and fight for the ball. He's on the Epicenter. They're going to try and pick up the 2 heroes behind the tier 2.
Huge, absolutely huge. You're waiting for the Newbee combination. And that is a sacrifice you're willing to make. A dead slaughter for those extra 2 kills and a tier 1 tower.
This is something that we saw in the semifinals. When Newbee operate, they operate as a team, man. They go for dives, they go as all 5. And there's this certain strength to it, right? That they say, you know what, who cares about a tier 2 tower as long as we're all 5 going together? We saw that too in the semifinals where they 5-man dove a tier 1 Radiant tower in the safe lane super early on, dove behind the trees and everything, and even if they did get bit by it, at least they were playing on the same page, you know? They seem to have a very controlled perspective of the game where everybody is doing exactly what everyone else is thinking.
And that's just one of the big strengths of a fantastic team that's going to be around for a long time in that tier 1 area. And DC, well, they're no mugs as well. They're looking for any kind of opening they can find, but now it's actually Newbee's vision. Their Observer actually doesn't scan out to the shrine. It's just a little bit further south, so it doesn't see the heavy movement. But with Resolution moving the way he is, you know this feels like a base. So you just back up and you continue to follow through 9. You're trying to push him into actually the Assault Cuirass as his next major item with that Life Stealer.
Yeah, he wants to be able to make sure that he has enough physical damage behind his sword to be able to rip through one hero during that Slardar initiation, get the numbers advantage, and then turn from there. Newbee, or actually it's DC who have an interesting choice. Weekon's going for the early Aghanim Scepter, which is going to grant them a lot more team fight, and I agree. Newbee are going to hit this certain peak around 25 minutes. They're going to bully down your tier 2s, and you can't just let them take it. You do have to contest in some fashion, so upgrading that team fight potential does mean a potential win.
But is it going to do enough against the big hero? You look at SC, and now he's got enough money to actually buy the entire BKB, so he's got a lot of immunity going into the fight.
Yeah, I'm not sure how DC is going to be able to deal with him. Legion Commander doesn't have really the snowball just yet. He's got an okay amount of physical damage, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to actually bring down the OD. They definitely, I think this game's all about initiation for DC, but their big form of initiation is a little bit slow, right? It's blink into a duel. Potentially, if SC is fast enough, he gets off the BKB, and I'm not sure if he dies to the physical damage in time. Maybe with an Omni Slash, but again, Newbee are going to be staying very 5-man unit. Like, I don't think there's any reason for them to worry about, split pushing a whole lot. They just need to make sure they aren't picked too often and let DC slide their way back into this game.
I love this, the Sentry warding that's gone down from Digital Chaos. They put down one Dire Observer ward in between. Oh, okay, Kaki, he's got Blink. He's going to get that Courier. This makes life a little bit more difficult. There's a tier 2 town that's now being traded for a tier 2 town.
Yeah, I mean, DC's happy with that. I think they tier 2 for tier 2 when they're behind, and they still needed a bit of extra gold. Yeah, because they have a little bit better physical damage, I would say, with the SF, and they want to be able to force Newbee into a defensive position. They want to be able to force Newbee onto the Dire side, so that frees up some of the Radiant area, like their jungle, to be able to farm up those extra items. Again, this little bit of gold was... DC do have very good high... And I anticipate, like, any Pudge player, right? You just kind of feel yourself sometimes. You can hit your hooks, you feel good, and it just kind of goes better. That's the way I'm sure Misery's feeling right now.
I also love how the lack of item, the trend of items from KP is just reflecting that to the fact they don't want to go high ground with that hand of light. He's looking for an extra kill. Rubik, is going to be there. Quick fire strike, but again, the punching bag is the Grand Magus.
I think Zoxta is some reason playing a highlight eye roll right now. He's just kind of soaking up a lot of attention from Newbee. He's putting himself out there, and if he gets ganked, it's fine. It's a 3,000 net worth Rubik. It's not a big win for Newbee by any stretch of the imagination. It shows a lot of heroes on the map.
And Scan.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, right?
Scan's still hitting Weehaw. They know he's still in the tree line.
Yeah, so they're like, Hucka's like, come on guys, hurry up. I'm gonna go find him.
I need more friends. There's an Observer Ward. He moves up. The Scan did go all the way to the side. Weehaw baiting the ultimate into the tree line, starts to TP. Kark would have to go for a blind fire strike the wall.
If they get that kinetic field, they get the vision, a glimpse goes down probably before that TP completes. That was incredibly close.
If Karka gets left not right, then you lose the SF, and that's the bigger thing, not just the Rubik pickoffs, and it wouldn't allow DC to go for this play they're doing now. The smoke maneuver up mid, Weehar's going to push the lane with razors, so this may be a little bit of a flag to Newbee that something is right. And they're already in position. But the Slider in aggressive position, he'll break out the smoke, and everyone else is right behind him. They thought they were doing Roshan. With Karka. Oh, hello, Hook, fire strike, will stick up the ring. Wait, oh, that's going to be Bringing down Weehar, and Newbee survives the damage and return it in kind.
Oh, unfortunately, I don't think Moonmeander got his blade mail before he managed to duel. I think I was going to praise Moonmeander for being able to get that quick reaction. The Infest pops out and immediately blinks in and just duel up the Lifestealer, but unfortunately, Lifestealer's
of having the corrosive haze.
Yeah, he won't care as much about that bounce back late damage for the Legion Command threat for this big increase over.
And the armor going across the board too. Blink forward, 2-9, well the duel's going to be out. AP's of late, tries to go across, Resolution from his end, he's trying to move the cat line. 2-9, he'll be crowned the winner with plus down 28 damage onto the life stealer. Open wounds, he wants his life back, he can take it from Hendrix, he's reaching with things to be forced up. He's got the six, but Ernheim, feeling like an absolute truck. One more hit will show the victory, will deny himself. On the other line, it's Rubik who sacrifices himself to keep Newbee at bay.
AP is such a monster Slargar. He saw that opportunity for a double crush that could gain them one more kill. And Newbee, they actually may not go for that tier 2 top lane. They're kind of looking at it.
Woo! That's optimistic.
I think this is the first, relatively risky maneuver that Newbee's going to take in this game, trying to go high ground. 5 seconds left into these heroes are back up. They have the Aegis, yes, and there's a lot of security for sure, but there's still the opportunity for DC to be able to make a good hook play and still find a successful team fight around these shrines.
It might be difficult. Like, you've still got Epicenter, a fresh Yule Scepter has also arrived in for Newbee. They're actually building double Yules, which is always a fun thing to do against a Pudge. The way that it interacts with that.
Yeah, I mean, I love Sinking. When he gets these, multiple mobility items, you get the Blink Dagger first, Force Staff, and Yule Scepter, you just become a hero that's impossible to be able to catch. He just moves in and out of these team fights, being super disruptive. And we've seen the way that some of these heroes from DC, particularly the Legion Commander, have had a hard time latching onto heroes. They just get kited around if he doesn't get a successful initiation with duel.
You're asking a question. Why Legion has been now popping in and out of the draft before, and that's a question that's been asked by the panel a hell of a lot. We're getting a good example of it at the moment. And Newbee, they're grouping up. So they didn't take out the tier 3 tower in the mid, but they are looking to now open up shrines by pushing through the top. Where are you off to, Misery?
I just realized, look at Lifestealer and his damage. That he
plus
won
28.
From the duel, plus 28. That's more than the Legion Commander's one, plus 24.
Radiant's top tower is
That's just a small little taste of how bad this game is.
Who really is the champion?
Yeah, exactly. This last tier 2 is going to go down. They're going to make start taking bottom.
Weehar's already attacking the tier 3 tower, and Newbee are not in a great position to try and defend this. So you bring in Parker to start with. Forest Strike slows down the SF. More support behind him from the Storm. It's beautiful. It caught Resolution as well as Weehar there. Fate will all be triggering off the fountain. The shrine, and with the glitch back, Weehar, a quick blink out. SC! From the hammer down, you stop the door, but you can't win that one. Now SC's going to get more damage. Rubik in the tree lines, the blink rush in the wrong area. Oh, he's in the perfect position! Every position but the one that Newbee was checking.
Kaka even used himself in a last-second attempt to be able to stop that TP, but they don't quite get it. Newbee, they're dealing with this well. I'm impressed by the way that Digital Chaos are doing this split pushing, because honestly, I feel like they should have no chance in this game right now, but they are forcing Newbee to move around the map. They haven't quite been able to go high ground or anything like that. This is what DC, I think, is one of their greatest strengths, is this split pushing power. They seem to be able to read movements really well, and because of that, they successfully split push without getting caught too often. But Newbee and their 5-man taking very little risk about this. I think that's exactly the way to play this game. They had a very clear lead by 15 minutes, and they just made sure that we're never going to throw it away. They're systematically taking the shrines now, and eventually I think maybe we wait for the second Aegis possibly before you go high ground, because it's not like they're on a ticking clock.
He's going to find Resolution, going to get the crash off. Red Bull's already starting to spin. Yes, he being out. The spin will last long enough, but Weehar is the one who is in trouble. Kaka sets him up. Now the BKB ulti. Weehar, well, okay, started the BKB. He's fast for this one. He's not get it. RNG is not your friend with the middle lane. It's once again Moon having trouble. He gets the kill on the Disruptor. The Blade Mail actually hurting Disruptor more than anything else.
Udine still got the turnaround kill. That's actually going to grant him a basher. He's still going to have an Abyssal Blade. That is an impossible scenario. For whatever hero gets jumped by the Slardar and the Lifestealer combination, you have not only this big initiation, the minus armor that happens, the heavy physical damage, but now you have some additional knockdown that can go through BKB on the Lifestealer. Not even the SF can deal with this.
And this is going to have to be something magical if DC are able to hold the next big attack from Newbee.
Yeah, it's going to be something of miracles, I think, because we're looking at an extremely big lead. Yeah, 20,000 net worth, 25,000 experience, and it's only 32 minutes in, and the fact that Newbee do not, it's not like they're running out of time. Yeah, OD is just going to continue to scale later and later into the game.
But this is one of those things where maybe Digital Chaos, as you said, like they've still got a lot of good initiation, good repositioning, fighting from inside that base. If Newbee try and go for it a little bit too early, you then have that big Weehar ultimate. As long as he's got the souls to back it up, this SF can still get stronger and stronger as time goes on. He's already got the extra physical damage thanks to +2 for each soul.
I just worry he doesn't have enough physical damage to be much of a threat. Because he went for that Agony Scepter, right? It was a team fight focus, but they didn't actually manage to win any of those team fights. So his physical damage is looking rather lackluster for an SF who's supposed to excel.
Yeah. At least Lee's going to have a fun time. If he can complete that BKB, which Moon is staring down, then there's at least less troubles for him. But actually, no, it's not. You look at the money coming into the Disruptor, thanks to that first point in the talent tree, the +60 gold per minute, he keeps moving closer and closer towards that Aghanim Scepter.
Blink back. Saksa one step ahead of the attempted initiation here from KP. Even KP is looking really strong thanks to his early hand of Midas after the Blink Dagger. He's got a Yule and he's going to be finishing up an Echo Saber in a second.
Misery needed that. He really needed that hook.
Yeah, I mean, this game, I think, is now on Misery. I do not believe that the rest of Digital Chaos's players can actually win this game from the high ground without Misery successfully hitting a good hook.
But Misery doesn't have the range for the hook yet, and he's not looking to buy like anything at the moment. He's looking at a Gem of Truth side for his team.
I do kind of agree with this. A lot of people tried to go for the Ether Lens, and it was a cool concept, right? It was like, oh, look how long range this hook is, but most of the time that extra range is not actually going to be utilized. Snap just comes in. That extra utility feels a lot better for these frenetic team fights that are bound to happen in 7.0.
So you get the different initiation, which is the Blink Dagger on the Rubik. So yeah, that works nicer for him.
Yeah, if he can actually maybe even like sacrifice his life to be able to hit his telekinesis that ensures a hook inside the base. Like that's the kind of sacrifices and risky plays that DC have to make in a game like this that is so sensitive that the odds are entirely in Newbee's favor.
Look at DC. They're hoping that Newbee is somewhere near their jungle, leaving some observer walls behind as they go for this run. Resolution has bought out to buy up that Eye of Skadi.
Yeah, he's so close to it. Going without buyback, I think, is like most people would criticize that. You're really close to like this end game scenario. What happens if you die? But DC can't think about that.
Kaka's checking Roshan. DC, the trap is set. The only question is, will Newbee realize what's going on? They poke into Roshan. We'll have potential spawn time in a second as now they smoke up. It was no vision. Need to command a break. Storm is going to go. We damage enough. With Hunter arriving and actually in it. Kaka is almost nothing. Now it's holding. Kenting all over Moon Knight. Still ripping through them. Weehar gets revenge with his own double kill, but SC is low. Bouncing up to Kaka. Turns into the Burrow Strike once again. The hook is well on target, and SC can just do the work. Bringing down Resolution, turning his attention now towards the punch. And what do we even do as the SF? A couple of things out now. Kaka just looks to actually find us a Misery. He's dismembering in the mid lane, but they're going to lose their entire team. We are gone pushing up the daisies.
40 HP. 40 HP is what SC was left with at the end of that big ultimate from the SF and that one last right click. That would have actually been so big if DT could have killed him.
He can't die here. He's only one more back. We're going to put him on a lane, but SC with 56 gold intelligence. He doesn't just hit like a truck. He's a bulldozer right now, right through the DC lineup, and you're ready to go in again.
Just keep up the pressure. They can smell serious weakness on the DC lineup. They should be able to take at least 2 lanes of racks and maybe threaten Vegas with 75 seconds left on the SF.
And at this point, you wait for SC just to blink and initiate. BKB ready and willing. A hot wall happen to pick through 9, but he comes in. Moon starting up the door again. The storm is absolutely perfect. Moon will take 10 minutes in this round. It looks like it's hopeless now for DC, and it is. GG is the call. Newbee will take game 1 in this best of 5 grand final for ESL 1.
Look at SC, man. That look of just, I think he just proved himself big time against DC. You know, he had some nice words to say about we're going to take him down, right? And that is exactly
DC, and it is! GG is the call! Newbee will take game 1 in this best of 5 grand final for ESL 1.
Look at SC, man. That look of just determination. I think he just proved himself big time against DC. You know, he had some nice words to say about DC. They looked like a strong team against VP, but he said, we're going to take him down, right? And that is exactly what he did in this game 1, man. He put on a show alongside the rest of Newbee against Digital Chaos.
He had so much space as well in the mid lane. Like, the Midas came at an early time. There wasn't that much pressure. We ask ourselves the question, did the Pudge do enough in the early game as well? Like, where did it all start going wrong for Digital Chaos?
In the early game DC, as well? I think there were so many situations if he really came to those duels a little bit better for them. I think there were so many situations if he really came to those duels a little bit better for them. Then, you know, if they were just right, there's so many of these duels that were kind of close. You know, if they were just a little bit closer in net worth, that they weren't quite as far behind. If that, you know, if the OD actually dies in that situation, then it's entirely possible that DC can push this a bit later and have a chance. But Newbee, I think they just looked magnificent in this game 1.
And they did, and game number 2 is only a little bit away. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back soon.
Welcome back, everyone, to ESL 1 Genting 2017. The first game of the grand final is celebrated by Newbee. They had a dominant victory in game 1, and it's back to the drawing board for DC and Blitz and the boys in blue. We're back at the Arena of Stars, of course. Plenty of crowd here, celebrating, enjoying Dota 2, as are our panel members right now as well. We've got Purge here with Melini and ODPixel. Welcome back to all three of you. ODPixel in particular. Hard to enjoy a game when it's a bit of a stomp at times, but there was moments in there which were enjoyable.
I found it incredibly enjoyable because I just thought the display of skill that some of Newbee's players put on was absolutely, it was just another level, really. Yeah. We've already seen kind of Newbee's rise through this LAN, where they've come through with games where they've just kind of shown us how these guys, they're seeming to be the hottest team from China at the moment for sure. And then SCCC, this man, he's amazing.
Same, wasn't it?
He's got so much versatility. He could give us these kind of the best performances on these heroes that I've seen in a long time from anyone. ODs, Queen of Pains, whatever he wants to do. I mean, this goes 16-0-8 on the OD. It was absolutely impeccable, and it was just complemented perfectly by his teammates. I love what KP was doing, kind of moving around the map. The fact that every time that they go in on a hero, KP, he wouldn't be looking at that hero. He'd be looking for the heroes that are looking to save that hero on the side of DC, and he'd always be there with the crush to make sure there was no chance of a save. And it just ended up looking like a bit of a shambles for DC because of how well Newbee played.
Yeah, I mean, small... I'm clutching at straws a little bit, Kevin, but the split pushing by DC to try and keep the game alive was sort of okay, I guess.
It was okay, but it all came down to the fight in the last clip and this clip here. The fact that they didn't kill the OD. It was a pretty good engagement. That was basically the best one they could have hoped for because they did duel the OD. It prevented him from banishing whoever else got dueled. That was the important thing.
He got... is this the fight he got out with about 20 health?
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah. The one before also should have been won by DC, I feel. I think Cap pointed out on the cast there was no Blade Mail usage there by the Legion, or at least the Lifestealer was getting a lot of heal back, but they weren't able to kill him. They were lacking some damage there. They needed to win some of those mid-game fights. The split push was really just a, hey, we're really behind, let's do what we can.
Yeah, and it was sort of okay. I mean, they were trying it, and it did force Newbee to stop attacking the base, and they actually forced him to come back and do something about it, but it was never going to win the game, was it?
It could. You never know if they make huge mistakes, but they're not going to make a mistake that big, I think, when they're that ahead.
Yeah. So what did DC do now, looking at game 2? It's obviously a best of 5. It's a long way into this match. They're a long way off losing it, so there's no fear from that point of view, but they'll want to kind of address some of these issues with the draft next time around.
I think one is an easier to execute lineup. Like, there's so many things that they had to do in each of the fights. Remember, the top fight, they had to like spin out of the crush after he blinked to dodge the crush, and then they were able to get 1 kill on a Soldar. They have to like get the BKB blink Blade Mail duel. There's so many things you have to cast as Legion, whereas for Newbee, it's like, okay, blink, crush, pop out, kill someone. Over and over and over and over again, or Kinetic Field into Static Storm into Epicenter. Those are all like relatively easy and very, very devastating, whereas you might kill a hero if you get a punch hook. You might kill a hero. It just wasn't solid. The team fight, I just felt like so many things had to go wrong for Newbee for DC to actually win a team.
Yeah, and a lot of things had to go right, obviously. And like you say, even if you get the hooks, which they didn't, to be fair. I mean, Misery played a great game the other day on Pudge, but today it was a little bit lackluster.
A lot of that as well is just the synergy that Newbee's heroes had. I really like the Disruptor with the OD because whenever DC was moving aggressively in the early game and looking for kills, if they banish one guy and Disruptor shows up, you're guaranteeing that the fight doesn't happen for 4 seconds, and then you can glimpse somebody back afterwards. So it's like they got to punish 2 heroes every single time that DC was playing aggressive.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much to all 3 of you. We're going to take a quick break here at the Genting Resorts World. We will be back, of course, very shortly with game number 2. The draft will be upon us. Can DC find something back in the bag to bring them back on level terms? We'll find out soon.
Ready to win. Fantastic first breath, the animal! Epic spray of down Forest in a lovely position. Oh! That was sick!
To the challenge. One quick kill and the nade. All of phases.
Get your team apparel now at shop.eslgaming.com.
Welcome back everyone to ESL 1 Genting 2017. It's DC who have the mountain to climb next, and we also want to thank one of our sponsors, Windows 10 and Xbox, the games you want to play now on more devices. We are about to get into game number 2 here on the main stage, and as I said, DC with plenty to think about. Our panel members are back with us once more. Odie, Pixel, Malini and Purge are joining me at the NVIDIA Experts desk. I've said they've got a mountain to climb. It might not be quite that bad, Purge, but they've definitely got something to think about.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of it was draft, probably. Just the fact that Odie's in the game, it makes it very difficult to duel somebody, because you almost have to do the Odie himself. If he's not out of position, game gets a little hard. And there's also other stuff, like Blade Mail doesn't work nearly as good against Odie as it does against other heroes once he gets BKB. So it was just maybe not the best draft to be up against.
What do you expect for game 2? Newbee obviously don't need to think about that too much. They're quite happy with what they did in the first game.
It's clear that Newbee want to fight a lot,
Yeah.
fight often, and fight early.
Yeah.
So I think that they just need a lineup to counter that with just more AoE, more team fight. I think Rubik was kind of the only one that I felt like did okay in team, or was suited for the team fights. Especially once the BKBs come out, it just seemed like DC were at a loss as to how to approach them.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how DC want to lane it this time, because as we've seen in quite a few games, DC, they've kind of got this tendency to want to go aggressive and put resolution in the lane against the enemy safe lane carry and have that 1v1 matchup between Moon and KP. So I wonder if they stick with that, or if they want to switch it around, maybe try a little bit better to secure Rezo more farm in the early game, so he can offer a little bit more once these kind of mid-game skirmishes kick off and Newbee starts to up the tempo.
DC-wise, any specific heroes you would like to see them pull out that might make Newbie think a little bit more?
Pudge, wait, no, not again.
I think they can first pick Omni Knight and get away with it.
Really, first round?
Yeah, I think they could, like that draft, if they open with Slaughter, I think they can maybe Rubik Omni Knight, and it would have been, I would have been much more happy with that.
I feel like if you open with Omni, though, it gives your opponent so many options for cores that lane well against it.
Yeah.
Like, they'll just grab really obvious diffusal blade carries that can grab it 1 or 2 items. I mean, not that you really need a diffusal against Omni anymore, but it certainly helps.
I think it's the thing about their draft too is that they have a lot of the single target, especially the first series that we saw from them today. Hello, crowd.
Kip's down there as well. Hi, Kips. How you doing?
I think they should have they'll have a plan here, and I assume it'll be something very different than what happened in the first game draft-wise. Because most teams going into, especially like a grand final, still have a couple drafts that they're ready to tackle in different ways. Is that ways good? Just
my mom tells me to do that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I think he's possessed.
That's
That's how he wins all the games. He's like, he just absorbs all the power.
That's how it is. Meanwhile, Mr. Mumiander, very focused on the screen right now. He was very animated during a couple of the drafts that we had yesterday, pointing at the screen and shouting, "Oh, well done, sir."
Very proud of himself.
Not sure it was reciprocated, but that's okay. Well done. So DC, Owen, we've mentioned what they might want to pick up. We know that they've got some of these pocket picks in there as well. The Meepo's in there.
That's true.
They've played the Underlord as well. We saw that banned in the first.
Yeah, I think both of those were banned first phase,
if Newbee feel like, do you know what? Actually, go on then. Let's see what you've got. Do they let them through just to see what they can bring them? I mean, they already know that they can be beaten with the Meepo, having seen Wings do it.
It's true. It's true. It is questionable how scared they are of that Meepo, if indeed they feel it does warrant being banned out straight away, as it was in game 1 once again. If they let it through, I mean, I don't know if DC would necessarily pick it, because I feel that Newbee, they are a team that would have answers for the Meepo. And there are a lot of heroes that we've seen that DC would have to be aware of. You know, potential Wyverns being picked up, heroes that are just going to ruin Weeha's game. And I really feel a lot of pressure is on Weeha. Last game, I thought he did his best, kind of considering the circumstances on the Shadow Fiend. He managed to stay relevant. He was able to kind of put pressure on. There are points where they were kind of like, they had a third of the kills of the side of Newbee, but still Weeha was trying his best to hammer onto the tier 3s, get something achieved for the team. But at the end of the day, the Shadow Fiend, it just didn't have the farm that it needed. Odie was too large, had BKB, Shiva's Guard, all the survivability that you'd need in a fight against a Shadow Fiend and a Juggernaut at the stage that the DC were.
Yeah, very difficult indeed. As we wait for our second draft.
Another hero I'd like to see is Warlock, possibly,
Yep.
from DC. I think an MP use it to great effect, and it's kind of an NA thing, if we kind of consider DC NA team, but I think Warlock's really strong versus team fight, but they had to deal with the magic immunity. These, like, instant cast magic immunity heroes with the Juggernaut and the Life Stealer are just very difficult to jump in a team fight.
It is a hero that they pick sometimes, and it is just good for laning, but I feel like they usually pick something more high action, because pre-6, he's quite weak, especially if they do have heroes like Starter or Lifestealer. It's very common for people to just jump on Warlock and kill him instantly.
I mean, perhaps even a hero like Mirana for Weeha. Something that we've seen him be very, very flashy on.
Yep.
Which I kind of feel that up against this lineup of Newbee, you need to be, but at the same time, you've got to be careful how aggressive you go. We saw in game 1 kind of a very early play from DC where they went towards the bottom tier 1. They really wanted to get that winning duel for Moon. They did, but it cost them heavy casualties. It's plays like that you just can't afford to go for against a team as coordinated as Newbee, because the backup will always fly in.
Do you think, Ben, if they want to prioritise a particular player to give the hero that they know can help them all round, who do they pick out of the team to prioritise? Do they pick Wii? Do they pick Moon?
Saxa, I think. Saxa's their team fight specialist, I think. And he's the one that makes the most plays. Like, Misery is position 5, he's not able to do that much, but Saxa, I think, is a player that needs to make the plays happen for them.
I don't really feel like they have... I don't feel like they're that kind of team, necessarily. They're a
Not
little
like
bit
an OG
loose.
where they have to kind of put the emphasis on one guy to give them the right thing.
Well, I think there's a lot of focus on... I feel it's draft focus. You pick the heroes that are good for the situation.
Yep.
Obviously, players like Weeha will grab items that he likes that maybe his team doesn't agree with, but I don't see them doing that so much with heroes.
Sure.
I think hero-wise, they're fairly straightforward. Maybe item builds it gets crazy, but...
I'm thinking more like something like an Invoker, which they wouldn't want to pick
It's very
first or
situational,
second
though.
phase. Yeah, exactly. Maybe they want to pick it if there's an Ember, but it's not going to be until late in the draft
Exactly.
anyway.
Like I don't think it's worth talking about him early as like, oh, you open with Invoker, because it's just it has a specific tool set that it's good against.
Yep.
And that's where we'll see those things be done.
KPII again taking his top off. I think is he quite late returning or not? Is he just literally just stood up and I think he might have just literally just taken his jacket off. But they are getting ready. I am hearing that we're still trying to make the lobby, so apologies for the delay. But we are about to drop you into the draft for game number 2 in this grand final. As you can see, the boys are getting ready on DC's side as well. And here we go, draft number 2. And look at that.
Same bands.
Mirror bands, exactly the same on both sides for both bands.
Is Newbee going to change it up? Slaughter, I think, is very safe. They can go...
Oh, okay. They
other
expected
ways.
it. And they're going to go Cottle Naga.
Here we go. We saw Resolution. One of the games that was a little bit messy from DC early in the series, but just how good they are with this Naga play. It makes it so hard for a team to kind of want to win these big game fights because they can reset them. And DC, they're so good at that. They're very good at kind of analyzing the situation.
Radiant team, ban.
Like the Mirana arrow, I think one of the few heroes that can actually survive that sleep combo, so maybe not too concerned about that.
Can you activate Morph, even if the arrow hits you as the sleep ends?
Yeah, you can activate Mortar and stuff.
That's right, 'cause it's only silence, right?
Remaining.
Yeah. I'm still worried about the Life Stealer, despite
Ban.
I don't think it being a good pick, and I think their position was likely already taken with the Morphling. But still respecting it. Sora, Life Stealer have been used to perfection by Newbee.
I mean, even though Ensnare is good against Lifestealer, the Rage itself is still very good against Naga, because it's going to force her, even if she's Song of the Sirens, sometimes you'll get hit a couple more times.
Yeah, that could
definitely be it.
Mainly at the fighting heroes, though. Looks like they don't want to play the type of game that Newbee wants to play, and the type of game that Newbee has been playing this entire tournament. He has been playing this entire tournament. He has been playing this entire tournament.
It's not very good against Morphling. I think it's more likely they go.
He has been playing this entire tournament.
It's not very good against Morphling. I think it's more likely they go.
He has been playing this entire tournament.
It's not very good against Morphling. I think it's more likely they go.
I don't actually mind the Darkseer so much. I think Morphling kind of struggles. He has been playing this.
That's true.
I think they need more team fight though. Like Naga Siren, you always run this risk of just losing 25-30 minutes because you just don't have anything. So Rubik's is like the most common tri-laner with Naga Siren. You like, I don't know, you just lift him into the Keeper Blast. It's pretty simple, straightforward, a lot of damage too. But he's one of the better heroes in the aggro situation.
It's pretty good against Morphling too. You can steal Morph and get rid of all your worthless Agi. And then you also have magic resistance war against his Newbee later.
He's also really good with the stun because he doesn't have that much agility. I think stealing any of his spells are really, really good. So now Newbee kind of need to think about whether or not they want to push early. Probably not with a Morphling, but some teams like to end the game as soon as possible versus Naga Siren. Like with, let's say a DK who just sits there and none of these heroes, especially if he has a hood or something, can't do any damage to him early in the game.
I mean, that is something I like about Newbee's draft is that they have so many options. Like they kind of understand what the tempo of the game is. They know exactly how strong DC's tri-lane is going to be. They can decide whether they want to fight it or not. And they still haven't even picked cores yet as well. Maybe they go safe, grab like a reasonable tri-lane support that also fits some of their other tasks, like Disruptor maybe.
I think they can also play aggressively with the Morphling if they want to go Wisp. Kaka's, I think, one of the best Wisp players in the East. And I don't actually think they can handle that sort of aggression early.
Witch Doctor, good choice. Very good tri-lane hero. And stun illusions for a very long time too.
Yeah, very strong with Morphling as well, isn't it, in terms of healing him back up when he has the max HP low when he morphs into Agi. A lot of value from that Buddha Restoration.
It's really good at Slardar too. Slardar gets 6, Witch Doctor gets 6, they kill somebody pretty easily together.
5 seconds remaining.
The Bat Bane was strange though. Morphling is one of the better carries versus the Bat Rider. You're like completely okay with that matchup. He's like not as good as Weaver or Slark, but he's still like very, very good.
I think they're worried about the Slardar Bat 1v1. That lane. Darkseer is... So DC is going to be forced into picking a core now. Slightly on the back foot in the draft in that way.
Do you think there's a chance that we could see Newbee as well get OD again for SCCC?
I feel like it's a little too slow with Morphling. Do you agree, Ben?
I agree. I think both of those just take up a lot of the map.
They may take it now though.
Yeah.
Pretty good versus Legion.
For DC this time. Again.
It's definitely a hero that Moon is known to love playing. He feels there's a lot of value in this hero.
So 2 out of the 4, same picks from the previous time. The difference, of course, opening with the Kotl and then Naga.
I actually really like the Darkseer pick here. Gives them aggressive dual lane options if they want. Slardar plus Darkseer, very strong. Especially against the squishies like Rubik and Cupid Light. If you get on top of them, they're in a lot of trouble. It also makes Morphling a lot better early too. Just Iron Shell waveform kind of stuff is hugely damaging.
I think they can also sack the Darkseer in the lane. Like I think he's a strong one-on-one hero. The Legion Commander I think wins a fair amount of 1v1 matchups. So they're kind of concerned probably about the Morphling's farm and want to make sure that he might have a safe place. And the Darkseer, I think, creates a lot of space, pushes out the lanes, so Morphling can farm the jungle and recover in case it's going to be a rough early game for Newbee.
DC do get the last pick, though, so pretty important here.
Oh, so they ban the Invoker, take the Ember.
That was very dirty the way they did that.
It was.
Just slowly crept into these heroes that everybody knew the counter a couple matches ago, where we saw how good Invoker was versus Ember and Darkseer.
Yeah, but taking away Wee's Invoker. He would dearly love that right now.
Very tricky drafting here.
I mean, what is...
Very tricky drafting here.
I mean, what is left for Wii? What kind of screams out at you here?
5 seconds remaining.
As the Wii are final touch for this game.
I don't think there's that many heroes that are like
Reserve
great versus
time.
Ember Darkseer. Invoker.
Newbee, I think I feel pretty good about.
La da da da.
Good, but as the panel was also saying at the end, the heroes which we knew were good in this tournament just slipped through into the end with not a straight up counter because, well, Newbee was able to ban out that Invoker pickup. But there's still a lot to work with from Newbee. They've got some great combinations. DC has some great reset through the Naga. They've got the control we were looking for from Newbee and his Legion Commander once again. A nice little counter to the Slaughter, so both teams have a lot to work with.
This is going to be, I think, one of those. Oh, Newbee, they're contesting.
There's aggressive movement in. Up against a Rubik, this doesn't really have a high odds of working out unless DC just bail out. And that's exactly what they've done. They're sending Moon up to the Dire Rune to grab it, and Weeha will take the one next to the Radiant Secret Shop.
And this will be completely fine. They'll still trade 2 for 2.
Yeah, so easy trade-off. Of course, we can welcome back everyone who is tuning in right now on Malaysian TV, broadcasting live on NTVV, NTV7. And of course on the homegrown streaming service of TomTom. So greetings to everyone. We are now back here in game number 2 of the best of 5 grand final.
Yeah, for those of you who missed it, game 1, Newbee were able to close it out. I think that Newbee just built up this strength. They had a strong enough early game. They were ahead by 20 minutes, and they just slowly but surely built up more of an advantage to be able to close it out. In this second game, DC have chosen to go for this split push strategy, and that was something that DC, I think, showed still, like, against a lot of odds. I think they showed a decent amount of strength in that game 1 of being able to read movement and apply pressure via split push. It was their last option to be able to do that, and they did manage to buy themselves some windows of time. This time around, they have a much better lineup for it in the Naga Siren and Keeper of the Light opening.
They have a little crack here as well. As Naga takes a lot of damage with the Riptide, maybe a little bit of space, but no, the range attack. There's enough to do it, and DC will spill first blood on the safe lane.
Look at top lane. Moonmeander's already pressuring 9 just to make sure that this full agility morphling, he's actually getting punished quite heavily. This is so smart by an offlaner because you need to be able to do this to make sure that the morphling can't sit full agility and get those easy last hits and sometimes denies against you, and even potentially get aggressive onto you, the hero, if the support comes around and sets you up as the morphling. So Moonmeander already doing quite well as his offlane. We're already saying DC safe lane work out pretty damn well. And then on top of that, should have a natural win. In fact, Weehaw's gonna go
Wonderful under the T1 tower. Worth the sacrifice of his life.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a real bad matchup for the Ember Spirit. I think that this mid lane matchup is something that we're going to have to watch. Both of these heroes are kind of the tempo controllers for their teams. Weehaw has a very clear advantage being an Ember Spirit against being an Ursa against an Ember Spirit in the lane, and he could potentially put a lot of power against the Morphling as well. You're talking about the lockdown of the duel. If you actually couple that with the Blink Dagger of the Ursa, he can rip right through that Morphling despite the attempts at morphing the strength.
Trying to come over and do something against this Legion, but Moon's already triggered on the Shrine, and that little bit of damage that came in from the crush is practically nothing. It really is little. Another bit of information, Zuxa was able to go on a little bit of a run, and he jumped over towards the Dire secret shop. Noticed the Dark Seer completely abandoned lane, stole the bounty. So a lot of information coming in for DP.
Attempt to go on Weehaw here by Newbee as they move Kaka, but Zuxa kind of mirroring that movement of Newbee's support. It seems like they really hoped that aggro dual lane would go a lot better for them, but they really bounced back and now they come up with other ideas for Kaka's movement.
Maybe can get that control, but Weehaw just so big with the PMS, they can't really get a lot of damage in, and SC doesn't have a lot of damage to give, like 2 up in Searing Chains, 1 up in Flame Guard. This Ember is not ready to spend out.
In some ways, I do agree with Newbee that the Invoker would have been particularly powerful against some of the other heroes. It's strong versus Ember Spirit, and it's also quite good versus the Morphling as well as the Darkseer. That Quaswex Invoker, the way it operates, fits against those heroes quite well. But it does make you wonder if this Ember, if this Ursa is potentially the pick they should have banned instead, just because of the way he's dominating his lane and how DC may be able to snowball this.
This Observer Ward from DC that was planned down so early on is giving him all the vision in the world of the 2 supports on top, allowing Misery to have the greatest positioning ever, and Moon to know just how far he can force it out too. And Newbee gonna feel pretty safe too, because their Observer Ward is right on top of the same location.
Yeah, I love this combination too. Like this Keeper Light is gonna allow Moon Meander to be able to spam out a bunch more overwhelming odds. Again, keeping the Morphling low, punishing him for that high agility, low HP build, and then he'll also be able to do the occasional Luminate Blast, which is the same kind of pressure.
Right, the amount of rune stealing is unbelievable. Courier's also making a bit of a trip down mid, can't get just off the bounty room, but it's that Courier that's going to bring in the raindrops to Wii.
I think they really want to get a game similar to a Storm Spirit. They want to try and kill this Ursa before he gets his level 6, because the Enrage makes it stuns, right?
You almost need Wii to walk above that line. If he can go above that, then he comes in range of the Paralyzing Cask, and during this nighttime vision, that's like, he just needs to go a little bit above that, but Wii's playing this position he's actually close towards the board. But now let's see, he gets the Searing Chains up, picks up his there from the Rubik, create a little bit of space, but will it be enough? Weehaw with another clap, he's almost killing him, and he actually gets the kill. The last attack, he didn't come down to Paladin, he's trying to do it, and no, it is enough. SC is there with the Searing Chains.
I love the I thought he was actually going to be able to enrage and take up the damage from that Maledict proc and potentially be able to survive, but that Searing Chains was just barely in range. I love that. DC, they actually knew that rotation was coming pretty clearly. With the pressure that's up there in that top lane, they had a pretty good read about the support's movement.
Yeah, and they were able to actually kill off the Morphling on the top lane while that gank was happening, so it was actually a twofer.
All things considered.
Moon should be really careful. Kaka's coming in through the side. He doesn't have Mist yet, though. Without that, like, you're going to crush now on the Moon, but it's just a little bit of harassment. Moon's fine with it. He finally triggers that
Jeez. I've never seen a Morphling put out quite this much. Normally, Morphling's kind of a tough hero for offlaners to be able to deal with, just because the high amount of physical damage is able to do. But this span is so good.
SC doesn't have spirits yet. Wee's really trying to capitalize on that time. It's half level before SC will reach that. Maybe the Paralyzing Cask up on top. Again, another Maledict. Kaka can't really get himself in range. They can't make the most of the Maledict. Again, SC has to juke it around. He actually has a little bit of trouble with the creep. So low on life. But Low is still alive, dropping down to 6 HP.
He actually successfully pushed SC out of the lane before he can get level 6. So this is stalling up this Ember Spirit, and again, the Ember Spirit is going to be one of those one of the tempo heroes for, especially with this new build, right? It's a very aggressive magic damage build from the Ember Spirit.
He came into play with a paralyzing cast just to try and farm up and stall the lane up a little bit, but with an invis rune sitting inside the bottom of the Ursa, it was a very dangerous play.
Although meanwhile, Naga Skyrim's getting total free farm. He's 15-8 right now when it comes to CS. He's not pressured whatsoever by KP, thanks in part to the way they secured their lane first. Right? The keeper of the lane sat in this lane first to be able to make sure they didn't let this Slardar Darkseer be able to dominate the Naga Siren really early on with the magic damage of the Ion Shell, and then he rotated to top lane once the lane was won.
And that's when he just starts helping out Moon, have all that regeneration and almost straight up harassment too, where this Illuminate spam is pushing the creep wave under the tower and allowing for more of a potential dual attack, and that's what Moon's doing. He's chipping down Moon Knight, so Misery gets attacked from Press attack, breaks off the stun, now in comes extra help, it's in the form of Rubik, and Moon, he wants to pull the wall, he wants the big one, Drake Ball to make this difficult, but with the Illuminate spam, Moon Knight, he's still survived, up through the trees, it's not enough, 30 HP, Moon Knight, just a man, he's got 3 1-shots up, it's just a second, he's trying to juke it around, but Moon will find him, slice and dice in the tree line, and DC committed pretty heavily for this, even Weeha, he's trying to pick off the piece on the back line, and there is one big piece, he's going to try and crack the coconut of the Witch Doctor.
Yeah, Witch Doctor kind of sitting behind his tier 1 tower. Looks like he won't be caught by this. Weeha's rotation is going to be in vain, but it doesn't really matter. DC, like, the most important thing is they're drawing so much attention away from this Naga Siren. It's the cherry on top that they're actually...
Like, DG, they own this top lane.
And soon these cherries are going to start representing damage, right? They start getting successful duels, and then we're going to see a Legion Commander that actually snowballs, as opposed to last game, where the duel actually played against Digital Chaos, feeding away extra damage to both cores of Newbee.
And Newbee need to find some kind of way to control this, and their answer appears to be to defend the top lane with his smoke maneuver up. SC's going to rip in through behind Darkseer. He's actually got the early wall, but there's no plus the wall damage to kill the Rubik with a paralyzing cast. Faith was able to keep that control on the Rubik, but Moon makes a break for the tree line. He comes through with a quelling plate as far up as possible. SC cleans the tree line up, but Moon successfully TPs out. They just didn't have the radar to find him.
Yeah, they just cut down one of those trees and finding a hiding spot that the enemy team is probably not used to being able to deal with. Really nicely played by Moon Mando. I like what Newbee did there, just because the Ember Spirit has been spread out in the mid lane doesn't mean that they can get too much. They need to try and use this lawnmower strategy of having both the Flameguard and the Ion Shell.
I know you've got high movement speed, but Weeha is a beast with those phase boots. And you still don't have the corrosive haze on the Slanna, so he's not really, like, giving any kind of intimidation factor over to the Ursa.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you challenge this Ursa either, right? Because one of their big disables is going to be that Searing Change, but Weeha's gonna just rage it off for the most part. But they also can't just leave him alone in lane because he'll have this really fast Blink Dagger, and we already talked about the danger of that. He instead goes for the Morbid Mass for now. This also opens up a potential Roshan attempt if DC gets enough control of that area.
This spam from Miz top lane, new robot. To see if they can look him out for the Observer. They jump forward and screwed up Misery, but once again, just broken free. The paralysis cast won't bounce, but he's still in range just for long enough time for Faith to get the last hit in.
Yeah, I like that. Just New kind of sticking around and going again with this combination. They just need to try and punish the DC that have been planning their flag up at this top lane. The next rotation, you would usually look to try and shut out the Naga Siren before he actually gets that relic, but I do still feel like Newbee is one or maybe 2 or 3 steps behind DC, and they won't actually be able to gank this hero in time. We'll see. It's sitting at 2,500 right now. It's just tough to be able to get the combination of stuns required to kill this somewhat tanky hero, who's pretty good against the physical damage of the Slardar. Like, that's a big downside, is the fact that Slardar's physical damage is not going to cut the Naga Siren through like it does most other cores. And if they don't successfully chain stun it, Naga Siren goes down.
You just go for the successful rotations you know you can get. Yeah, you know you can go to the top lane.
Yeah,
and you find kills for SC. Like, he's 2-1-2, currently on the Ember Spirit. That's a nice little place for him. And Newbee understands too, there's the push going into the portion of the game. While it's going to be difficult against Naga, they can build up to the point where they can deal with Digital Chaos if they can just hold on to as much map control as possible.
Yeah, but I think Digital Chaos, their next step is going to be looking for these tier 1 towers once they actually have the blink.
He just revealed himself again. Look at SD with that haste first. Moves so quickly. And Keeper of the Lions in the fall. He's just shy of his level 6. So he's getting ready. He's trying to get this farm to get into the Aghanim Scepter, and that's going to make the global maneuverability of DC even stronger.
DC immediately trying to punish this movement and try and go for some damage onto the tier 1 tower, but they don't have enough to actually threaten to take this tower anytime soon. That's kind of surprising to me, given the fact that SD has spent so much time away from this middle lane and attempting to gank, actually successfully ganking that top. They bring some extra heroes to it. It looks like DC are tired of being picked off. They're going to sit as a 4-man crew, I think, for quite some time, and not let Newbee be able to snowball off these kills.
And they're going to start to remove the tier 1 towers and remove the area where Newbee can farm. They can push with the Iron Shell, but getting close enough to get all this experience, it can become more and more risky.
They have some deep control in this area. I feel like Newbee can't fight that 4 versus 5.
I'm not sure they're actually they've got the Rubik in the name, but Target's going to end that. Gets the first, the Duel's coming in already. Paralysis can't get us into the Paladin, and now the Deathwatch, but now he gets used to the DC. Did he go for all the down? On 10 HP! Wait, SD during the 5 minutes, he got down! The Spirits will do the work! Song of the Siren! Hold the fun! Stop the song! Right about now! Combining with the Gravebolt! It's a double kill for the Rubik! But it's not over yet! Mystery creates the mid-range, the blinding light! But it's a Rubik with a triple kill! Can he give him more KPs after TP? The Illuminate just missing! It would have been a team wipe! DC will still recover. It looks hairy for a minute.
DC starting off that road shot with only 4 heroes, but they were calling their safe resolution. You need to get your butt up here. You need to make sure that you have that side ready to go, because Newbee did execute that fight pretty damn well. They had the paralyzing cast set up by the Witch Doctor and this beautiful Death Ward. It was only until Resolution stopped all of that with the Song of the Siren, and they were able to reset that fight that they just dominate over Newbee.
Yeah, Newbee need to have some kind of, like, how do you even deal with this? But like, you've got heroes which are not going to naturally build into a BK. So you can just get tanky up, you can just, well, either pop the Naga straight away or survive it.
I actually don't know what Newbee's plan is at this point. Losing the laning phase a bit is acceptable, but this is not a bit, right? They almost already by DC. This is almost unheard of by 14-15 minutes. And a match that, especially with Newbee taking game 1, was kind of edging towards the way of the Chinese. But DC are definitely bouncing back pretty damn well in this game too.
300 gold. I just want to keep my eyes on Resolution at the moment. He is just about to finish up the Radiance. We're only 14 minutes into this game. With the same net worth as Bertha, who has not only a license to kill, he's got licenses to fight. Maybe they can get a little bit, but no misery. A quick blinding light pushing SC away.
SC actually having a lot of mana problems because he doesn't actually have any components of the Radiance, and he's also dealing with people like that.
He's going to kill the Rubik. He's here to help out. First one, he knew exactly what they're getting into. The damage is more than enough. Plus 10. Winner goes to Legion Command. And the space is now being created. So there's a 300 gold. The Radiance is up just shy of the 15-minute mark. And what the hey? You spin me right, baby, right round.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's the fireman. If they get some extra initiation, Weeha's got the Blink Dagger. Moonmeter's going to be picking up the Blink Dagger pretty quick at this rate, because with the armlet and the natural strength of the DC crew right now, they're going to be able to bully down some of these out towers.
And then very little Newbee will do. And Newbee tier 1 tower drop, and this push will continue. DC back.
I think have to defend because they can't really split push against this Radiance Naga Siren. They can't try and trade so they can actually fight into DC.
Well, they do have the fresh mech with the overall KP. This is an upside. SC missing a critical Sleight of Fist to Searing Chain. That's not going to help, especially when it's only a 1 point up in Sleight of Fist. That's a very long cooldown, 30 seconds.
They just do not have hard initiation on Newbee, so SC missing that Searing Chains, like, it's going to be a long time until Cockeye gets his Blink Dagger. He's sitting at 1,000 gold right now, but I think his gold per minute is not real high.
They need some fight. Weeha wants to go in. Remember, he's still got the Aegis. He's still got that extra little ticket to move. If he can go in, kill one person, the rest of DC can move over. They've got the Song of the Siren to still reset. And they're actually pressuring the mid lane. Illusions are being set up towards the top lane as well. It's going to force the equilibrium to shift back in favor of DC on the north.
I like the way that DC are setting this up. The smoke is going to be big. The duel, easy follow-up, easy money, and KB even tries to help out with the paralytic cast. He might have enough. The stun is holding him there. He's dying at the moment. He'll TP out. Misery. 11 seconds. Throws it over the siren. Resolution walk is a little bit too far away. It opened up Newbee to attack, but he needs to save it. What? You'll get the series change as well. That's part of that was the position to do it. And the big kill for Unite. 400 goal, but we are back in it. You've still got maybe small spirits to rush down forward, and he holds the Ember in position, throws it down, let's see how get the kill, Paralytic comes down, they need a beat, and now the back and forward, finally starts to get further away, but he's closer towards the dire base. Kaka wants these kills, this is his goal, if he can get it, it's just walking on green legs, if he can just get the front up, he's waiting, he's turning it down, we have done forward, the quick revenge is out, but will it be enough? He has to round on 3 suspense in that Newbee sandwich. Support is there from the Legion Commander. No pressing attack. Duel is available. KP knows it. He has to move away, even though Moon doesn't have the Blink Dagger available. They're going to try and kite him as best they can. They really want to keep on this Ursa. They're not letting him get his Blink Dagger off the mound. They can stop that one, but I'm not sure if they can still catch this guy. They've got out of this thing. KP doesn't have his surge available, but in comes SC. Even the side, the blinding light, pushing him away. Misery, the ultimate space creator. Misery comes in at quite the clutch time. They've been able to successfully get a Searing Chains. KP was rapidly following up. He could have been able to catch them with a potential Surge Vacuum. But I think that's actually a really great fight for Newbee. Yep. Like, it goes to show the strength of DC that they're able to do some of those things and march all over the tier 2 towers and still have these trade-offs, but look at Kaka's goal. They desperately need this form of hard initiation, and Flirter's about to get that. Yeah, and that is going to be the critical timing for Newbee. Of course, everyone across Newbee was about a 1,000 gold advantage. They managed to swing after that fight, and they start to flatline the advantage that was there for DC overall. Yeah, it seemed like DC was just going to barrel out of control, but get away. Yeah, do not let that Blink Dagger. He's got it, he needed it. That's what the bounty room was for. He needed to get that money. They also have the Veil that's going to be coming in for SC, so that's a relatively big upgrade in their damage. Look at Rubik, the amount of money on him. You get a Blink Dagger on Spada, which has been working so hard towards. Now the Rubik is just going to get one for actually nothing. Yeah. Moonman, I say nothing, he's 626 on the Rubik. Moonman is not too far away from his Blink Dagger either, so it's not like Newbee with this Blink Dagger pickup on the Slaughter can all of a sudden feel like, oh, initiation and maybe that's not the case. They need to use smokes, they need to use to catch the a triple kill for SC and Digital Chaos. They saw it coming up and they were dead. Fatal error by DC. They had this game in the bag, but Newbee with the right rotation, they pick up the Blink Dagger to Slardar, and we said they had to catch DC by surprise. They needed a really good smoke initiation here, and they found that in spades. 3 in the Slardar. Kaka showing what a hero this is for them. Slardar for KP, and even Kaka has been a monster for Newbee. Man, such a huge dream. A little bit of extra theme for a Rubik now stealing off the morph, so he's going to strengthen himself up as much as possible. But DC can stand the bleed. Now, it's great for Newbee. They can now get themselves back in front while the experience is in their favor. They're still a long way behind in the gold, but it's the fact that they've got great D push, they've got great kill potential, still great team fight to work out for DC. It's one bump in the road. But the road is long. What I love about this is the fact that Newbee's really aggressively into DC's side of the map. They wanted to see if they can continue to kind of, just make DC stumble backwards, right? They just gave them a huge shove. They're stumbling backwards, and they're trying to see if they can keep them on the back foot. It didn't quite happen, though. DC played very conservative. They stuck around their tier 1 towers. They grouped up, and Newbee were able to find that additional opening. DC still remain the much stronger team at this point, but Newbee finally had like this glimmer of hope that they didn't have before.
Yeah, and you see them trying to actually make even more out of it. You get a Witch Doctor. He's the man that bought back 2 fights ago. He now buys an entire hand of Midas flying on Courier, and you look at Karka's quick buy, he's also staring down the hand of Midas. So both of these heroes are really prepping themselves. They want this game to go late. We want to crack the hour mark with this Newbee lineup. Which is a weird thing to say against a Naga.
Yeah, one of the really big pickups for Newbee was also the Lincoln Spear off of that team fight. It doesn't sound like an item that's going to really impact some of these team fights, but it does, very importantly, stop the initiation of the Legion Commander, who we were conceivably talking about him picking up the Blink Dagger before the Lincolns, and all of a sudden they keep the Morphling down. They maybe kill him once or twice with this combination of the Legion Commander and the Ursa and all the physical damage they have, but that will be the case here. If DC want to be able to gank U9 on this Morphling, they're going to have to bring a little bit extra to the table.
And that means a lot of extra. Like, that's bringing the entire team to even as you saw with that little bit of a choke point, the big stuns, they have to give respect. Not to mention the fact that Axia, although he already completed up the mech, he's working, looks like, directly into the pipe. I thought maybe KP would put a little bit more priority on having that Blink Dagger, but KP's position, like, we've already been praising his SKs, his clockworks throughout the entire tournament, but he's always in the right position, even without having that high maneuverability of that. Just using the surge.
Yeah, it really helps when Cox is able to set you up so well with his Blink Dagger crushes, right? You just get a momentary respite, and you come in with the vacuum set up for that. And the combination has been beautiful for Newbee, giving them a decent shot at recovery. Still concerning though, because they have still all these things coming in for DC. The ankle is being finished up by Misery. We talked about how the Blink Dagger on Rubik is another big pickup, especially against that Linken's, right? He has 2 abilities. They're instant cast. Faithful can prop the Linken's, and he can potentially get the telekinesis on the Morphling before he waveforms or jumps to his replicate.
DC prioritizing now the control around the Dire Secret shop. That's where their spoke maneuver is going. If they can push into the tier 2 towns as well, it opens up the shrines. This is another point where you said, like before, Newbee had to try and defend. The question is, do they still feel that same level of pressure? They're waiting for a smoke gate from DC to come into their jungle. But now that Weeha will reveal himself on bottom lane, they'll probably pop onto the fact that Newbee, well, it's their tier 2 tower on bottom lane, which is under siege.
Yeah, Weeha doesn't have that Aegis anymore. He wouldn't be solo pushing into that tier 2 without some backup. So, Newbee, avoiding that high ground area, the old secret shop. They're not going to go in through there.
Witch Doctor TP down, he was inside the Roshan pit, and 2 seconds after his TP completed, the Roshan spawned up. It's almost near maximum spawn time anyway, so whoever
the online tier 2 is one of the tougher covers to defend. It puts you in high ground scenarios in both sides, and this also is very much a funnel leading into the tier 2. So better that Newbee just gave that one up, I think. Focus on maybe defending their middle tier 2 tower. That is the last remaining tier 2 is protecting their shrines. That is going to be, I think, one of their last holdouts. The full Naga Siren push comes to play.
I think Weeha would also like to finish up his Aghanim set before this Roshan. I think it's now 1 gold away, so there it is. The Aghanim set that can be purchased and is already coming to Korea.
They lacked a whole lot of consign. They have the Searing Chains, which, you know, for the most part, Ursa is able to ignore thanks to his ultimate, and their hard stuns. Well, now those hard stuns aren't even a problem for Weeha. How they're going to be able to control the Ursa, it's just going to be able to latch onto multiple heroes in every single engagement.
That one Naga illusion. It's smoke maneuver from Newbee. Now, they might have been looking to go into Roshan. They never actually entered the pit. There's one illusion. Go for it, double crush! Keeper of the light will push it back to the bottom line. Moon will break him free, and the Song of the Siren is used, but Weeha, who does he want? He's looking towards the Moon. Get out of the Naga illusion. He can't get away. Karka with the extra stun. Personally, a range is taking him. Not to mention Rubik, he gets the pickup. He only got Newbee's big ability, and that's where Newbee will turn their attention to his SC. Get the SC easily occupied. They move over to the Rubik. Another crush, keeping the illusions away. The internet, link up from SC. He'll dodge that one. But Weeha on the front line, looking for that kill onto the slider. One more attack will do it. He's burning. 73. The Battle Link was a son of one swing. for the ding, and now they can take Roshan. That's the big one.
Newbee, they found an initiation. Yes, it looked cool. A two-man crush, but I think Kaka forgot to look behind him and judge the distance of the rest of his allies. They were so far behind that the crush actually wore out before the Ember Spirit. He was probably one of the more mobile heroes that they have on their team up there. Forget about the rest of Newbee. They weren't even close to follow up in that engagement. Kaka, he saw an opportunity. That is the toughest part about the offlane position. It's one of those things is you are oftentimes the initiator. In this case, the 4 position, right? He's the big initiator. He has to just kind of win the time his opportunity, but he misjudged his ally position.
And that's really costly too, because now Newbee fall behind. Digital Chaos, the graphs start to swing a little bit further up in favor of that inside. Not to mention the map controls they've got. The shrine is now being lost next to that dire secret shop. And they only have one left inside their own jungle.
Newbee are just going to be trapped inside their base very soon, and they're going to have to do, like, and they're running out of smokes too. So normally when you're trapped inside base like this, the best way to be able to push out, you try and go for a smoke, force a fight, and if you win that fight, you can actually gain some semblance of map control back before inevitably pushes you back in. But I'm not even sure if they're going to do that times with the few smokes that they have. DC. They take this remaining tier 2s and they spread the illusions all over the place, and the only hero who can feel somewhat comfortable pushing out is U9 just because of his Lincoln Sphere.
But he's got the safety to get away, but that's always the big thing with the Wolf, right? He's got to create that space. That's the reason why Newbee was looking towards the end mines. They realized that they've not got it their way at the moment. Yeah, but there's still a lot of ways to come back. They still have that big combination of KP as well as the Slaughter can combine together with the Ember Spirit.
For Newbee to have a chance, they certainly have to drag out the game big time, and the Hand of Midas kind of plays into that. SC is also trying to go for a as well as the Rubik can get it out pretty easily, and he even think of that, Bill.
I'm still keep going. This is great spin.
I think this is like, I think this makes the right amount of sense. Lincoln's made sense because you had to push out and you had to do these things, but ultimately, at some point in time, DC's just going to go high ground against you. You needed some big damage upgrades out of this Ember Spirit, just simply weren't hitting hard enough.
Even with that spell amplification, he went for the extra stats too. You know what he wants to get to and get that plus Searing Chains.
SC's going to have to play really well. He has to read the map movement of DC because he's still going to have to do the split pushing, but he won't be able to have that kind of failsafe in Lincoln Sphere.
Alright, here comes DC. They look to the top lane. They don't have everybody with them. Boone is actually all the way back down to the mid. So this feels like a bit of a half-hearted push in from DC. They just send the illusions in. They keep the split push going. This is more of a siege than anything else. Keep the split going with the non-keeper, and actually with the keeper light, always going to remember, he can drag it back in and jump in. Weeha with the sun already on the front, nothing is difficult. You walk the earth up, you find that one thing you went down, then again you have the Aegis, you want to song of the siren, just seeing Newbee trying to back up, force DC if they want to get go deeper inside their base. Oh, he's out of Weeha, he'll trigger the Aegis. So at least it's DC, nothing easy opening, but maybe not. Easy Commander jumps in, the sun is there, they're holding it back to the front. It worked out here. KP will die. The Illuminus did the work, but really the cost is high for DC. Weeha still on the front line. To the wall of Waveform. Moonlight bringing the E-Blade in and the jump forward. Misery. No way out. Newbee. They are pushing back DC and not just doing that, they're walking over the DC dead bodies to do so.
They picked up a gem off of DC too. That was an amazing hold by Newbee. These guys are some high ground defense. And you should absolutely be fearing that as DC. They need to make sure that they have not only every advantage possible like that Aegis, but they also need to make sure their biggest peak. And in some ways, I do agree with the Octarine finished up, this Manta and Radiance on Naga Siren. They have reached a pretty big peak, but I'm not sure if going high ground in that attempt was the right play.
It almost really kind of split Newbee, right? Like, the Nagas who seem to be successful in these type of situations have always been pushing multiple lanes. You've got to keep them alive. Where's that pressure on bottom and then get Newbee to be 3-1-1, split up inside their base, but Newbee were a 5-man team. They were ready to fight that way.
Newbee are executing really well in these team fights. I have to say, like Kaka, there was one example, like when the Ursa was going for the Witch Doctor who was held up by the Ensnare. Kaka did not immediately crush on the Ursa. He kind of faked it out and held onto it a little bit, waiting for the Enrage to go first from the Ursa and then use that disable. Very important, right? Because if he pops it early, the Enrage plus the Aghanim Scepter, he just immediately removes it and gobbles Faith up. And then Faith surviving because of that faked out crush situation by Kaka allows him to be able to get the Death Ward that then kills the Aegis. Like so many of these little plays by Newbee build up to a big win in the top lane.
Okay, I want to have a little bit of a gander over towards the Morphling with his quick buy item. He's looking at a Silver Edge right now.
I have no idea, Toby. I mean, at this point in time, like, it's similar to the way DP had to play in Game 1, right? They go for these really aggressive slow pushes and these very risky plays because they knew how down and out they were. And they can make that read, just like that we're seeing. They can make that read in themselves and be like, okay, we're pretty far behind. We have to take some serious risks to be able to win this game. And sometimes, you know, risks usually need
Bottom lane, Hemisphere, and he's able to help. Maybe didn't do it. When they kill taking it away. The blood is back but the shotgun is still up to U9. A click, click, boom, and Wihara is gone. They're chasing after Misery. He's on the run, but he can't run too far. Eventually, he's rooted to the ground. The shopkeeper watches the kill.
What
From the
is
best
happening?
in the house.
Digital Chaos are just falling apart at the seams. They go for that top lane push, and I'll give you like, it wasn't the worst idea in the world. I think, you know, I wanted to see a little bit more structure, a little bit more lane control before they actually went for it, but they had the Aegis and they tried to make a shot at it. That was fine. But now being in that bottom lane and trying to do something like that was like way risky maneuver, and they don't need to do that, or at least they didn't. But Newbee are rapidly coming back into this game, and the Morphling is going to be hitting super hard. He's got that Ethereal Blade already.
It's crazy to think that we're still 33 minutes into the game. With the game going the way it is, Newbee has still only taken one tier 1 tower on this entire map. So DC can get their numbers back to the front lines very, very quickly. Newbee do not have map control. They just seem to be having the team fights gifted to them, but they're winning these team fights that DC are engaging in.
All right, U9, show us something special here. He can potentially, with this Shadow Blade, hunt down the Naga Siren and maybe catch her up, but I don't think he has enough burst damage for that. So he can probably have to focus on some of these.
Have at least a little bit of. Oh wait, is he gonna?
No, he's not.
Misery is far enough away. He's gonna just farm them instead. But it's a reveal that Shadow Blade. I still haven't seen the pick come out from DC, but they may have just caught the
Yeah, I think that they definitely see the Shadow Blade by now, and they're gonna have to be a little bit more grouped up because of that. Especially the other heroes, the supports are gonna have to stay near a core at all time.
Okay. Do you finish the Silver Edge? I know U9's looking at it, but you've just got the full butterfly completed on Naga Siren. These illusions and like just Naga herself are going to be really, really troublesome.
I mean, it's a pretty good stat upgrade. You already have that item anyway. I don't see it as being too big of a deal.
Morphley's going to invisibly wave the mid lane to try and force it back out again. The Naga illusion was pushing it in. DC, this is your time. Slaughter jumping forward. That isn't a real Naga that's going through the mall. He actually body blocks for a second the Morphling. And DC, yeah, they're pulling back. They're pulling back to their own side of the map. They know something is awry. All you've got right now is a replicate of the Naga. That's now going to be a third Roshan. She's on the ground. Moon will pick up the shoot. You see Maul going into the hands of Wee. And Newbee, they're actually outside their base at the moment, but maybe with this Aegis and Cheese, they feel confident. But it's U9 on the top. He's going to find Misery. And this is one step he's on the line with the waveform. It wouldn't even matter if him blinding by getting his target was the keeper.
There's the on-3 for the Ember Spirit. Doesn't quite have that level 25 yet.
Does he commit it? Resolution, U9 in quick TP out. Resolution will spam the illusion down, but it's already too late.
I'm thinking this level 25 SD can actually be the thing that breaks DC from being able to successfully go back. As once he had this extra 2 seconds of searing chains, then you get this constant stun that is going to be happening from the Sleight of Fist. It's so hard to be able to go high ground into that. They're going to have to, like, DC, they won't be able to push high ground with, like, the confidence of, like, 5 heroes going up there, right? They're going to have to play more of this constant chip game with the Naga Siren, chip away at the tier 3s and eventually range Raxes.
But that's still a hard ask, because the longer this game goes on, that chipping is going to be pretty slow. The illusions aren't lasting long because Nuke's single target focus. Even the Morphling, we saw him just jump down to the bottom lane, throughout the adaptive strike plus the shotgun. Your illusions jumps over to mid, hits it a couple of times, it's gone straight away. That chip is going to be a very, very slow process. In the meantime, Newbee gets bigger and bigger as time goes on. DC, maybe they've looked at something else. How do you bring Newbee out of their base into your hitting zone?
I don't really think you have too many opportunities to do that. Maybe you set up some sort of traps for the Morphling, knowing that he's using the Shadow Blade to try and pick these supports. Maybe these
their buybacks. Almost everybody. Most of, in fact, DC have all their buybacks up. Morphling has his too. And he's going to finally take out this tier 1 tower. So how long does it take now? 38.5 minutes. U9's pressuring the tower and he's being pushed back. He's still not going to get it. They burn the fortification and they're also surrounding around U9. He's got the replicate of that Naga Siren illusion. So they jump in, you duel, but you're literally dueling yourself. And they actually can't even dual win against the Naga.
That Butterfly, man. Doing a lot of work for Newbee in this case.
You actually want to, like, is that almost a little bit of frustration coming out from Room? We know we like to play around a little bit, but...
No, I think he legitimately needs to build these replicates. You can't just let him get away with that for free because it offers him so much extra gold, it really starts speeding up this Morphling swarm quite a bit. It's like when you let the Morphling be able to pick up the Alchemist of replicates, right? Same situation, just speeds up his gold so quickly because Morphling usually doesn't have that quick farming capability, but this is like how to take the lane game situation.
Something to notice the indecision there from Resolution. He bought the entire Bloodstone while being Bloodball while being back at base, but now he actually gets the Scythe of Vice instead. So they're looking for that control from the Naga Siren with his side.
I think that's an interesting turn of events. Naga Siren being able to lock down Sane F-Spirit, right, because he still doesn't have that Linken's. He's opted for a much more aggressive build. If they can actually get locked down on that hero, he's done for. And maybe if they can eat through these the Linken Morphling, they can be able to take a long duration hold of the duel. They certainly have the damage. It's just the problem that Newbee are most often going to be able to kite them around and connect them constantly until DC just drop a bit too low.
Yeah. With the double Linken Spear protection too, which is trying to build up, they could just throw all even no hope of really killing him off, even with that scythe. SC is probably the most exposed hero at the moment, but of course he goes straight back to base that defensive spirit and really enjoying this time, Newbee. Just keep farming up. The experience is going the way of Newbee. The gold is kind of flatlined at a 10k advantage in favor of DC, but a lot of that is still inside the tower. Being claimed
5-man smoke and a quick rotation straight through to the bottom lane. They know Newbee want to be able to push out this other side of the map.
Newbee's actually inside their own base. They've got an observer ward on the hillside, so this will work for them because this will actually help break the smoke of Resolution, who's coming down the bottom lane. So yep, now they see him. A straight up hex over on Slaughter. Narka, well, I think he's pretty much done. Oh, they're leaving him for dead. A quick heal. No, he won't. He'll go for the crush through the tree line, but now just give the crush over towards Rubik. More control for him, but look at Unite. He's pushing at the bottom lane. The mid's pushing out, the top's pushing out.
That smoke did not get an important hero. The Slardar is, when it comes to trying to establish real control in this game, it's inconsequential. Yes, he's an important factor when it comes to initiation, but it's the Ember Spirit and the Ember Spirit and the Warflink that you're really searching for in this smoke. You need to be able to set up. I'm surprised they haven't attempted some sort of like Song of the Siren into like Rubik's duel, you know, they have something.
Oh, we got him! The Morphling! Maybe he's got time! He plays himself right to his strength ball. Now leads to the part of the goal is up. He's down, no fight back! 83 seconds on the sideline! The window is open and DC is invited as
The best part
into the
is-
Newbee home.
The best part is DC are thinking what we were talking about earlier. They get to pick off the morphing. They're going to go for the high ground, thinking there's going to be able to force the buyback.
Oh, he's got it
like
now.
it came up.
Yeah, he only just got it.
Yeah.
That is one lucky duck. You've got the gank of him set the rope. Memphis in trouble. Fate just created a little bit of space. The illusion are working against him. The luminous spam. Oh, down in the back. Oh, run. Blinding light causing Newbee to keep the fight going. And he's burnt the death ward.
Yeah, he really missed that initiate. He wanted to be able to snipe that in.
They try and go for some kind of surprise play.
Well, I mean, they've been playing defensive with most of their heroes, but they still have had to split push some. And the thing is, they've been successful in split pushing for the most part. I can't actually remember a time where DC really got a really good pick, except when they caught the Morphling at top lane.
And that was more like a gifted kind of thing. Like it was the, oh, hi, this thing is actually right in front of us. Let's go for it.
Yeah, so they need, like, they need another one of those. Newbee are not going to just sit inside their base. There's no way. They just can't. They need to try and continue to split push. They can't just let Morphling sit and take whatever farm is kind of given them. It'll also offer too many opportunities for DC to take a change inside the base of Newbee.
We'll see how long that's going to take to do. For now, Newbee, all 5 are back inside their home. He has waiting on the bottom lane for something to happen. There's no vision, but he's waiting for it. The Morphling has come out far enough that he could potentially go for the gank, but no, the range is actually attacking him. And nope, he's in the pin. It's the back top. The Invincible Blade charge is still available, but Unite waveforms out a quick E-Blade pop. Tarka wants to make his play too. They jump forward. They've got the miss on him. And maybe now with KP, no Weehaw. He breaks through the BKB. This looks like Newbee were actually they've seen it out. Come out. They've got the door. This is a big one. The Morphling breaks off his end up. He's down for 100 seconds. Straight will join him as well. But with the time for Resolution, allows him to set up the Ember Spirit. He's the next big one. He's the control factor. And with the blade down, they just let him spin the Ember Spirit away. Moon actually gets shredded by the Ember Spirit. So they don't have the control anymore.
But can they hold it 4 versus 3? The Ember Spirit can do so much with this on screen. He's so close to 25-2. He can actually buy out as well. He really wants that big increase in damage. I think DC, they should be at least be able to get 1 lane of racks off of this.
They're looking for an opening. They're looking for a hero. If this is 1 lane of practice, Newbee actually let it go. They put a defensive screwed up for SC, but he can dive for it, get back to that Naga jump forward. It goes on top of Fate. The paralyzing cast. Catching Earth in position. SC Hex up for the moment. He's on his final fist off cooldown when he can finally stop being a piglet. Running back out on the bottom lane. DC are retreating for the moment. But it's the chip game. They still want the better opening. The slider fist is causing issues. Resolution has that second card available. We have the opening. Overlord's face once again, a quick duel step, but that's the one from Targa. He keeps the car out of play for the BKB. He's moving forward, looking for the kills. The Paralysis the Darkness back on. It doesn't work. Nothing's got the space to get out of here. But the song of the siren. We hold it. 15 seconds till the Morphling is up, and DC are using the retreat. The Bones is going further. Both slide a fifth searing chase. Tarka also wastes his stun. But Newbee hold, they don't lose the rats. Unbelievable. I thought for sure with that Morphling buyback that they were going to be able to hit it, but somehow they have managed to hold at least their racks. Tier 3s are gone from it and bottom. Their entire base is completely exposed, but they do have a second life in this game. You said the high ground kings.
They absolutely are, man. And they absolutely are.
How? Like, you're getting it. Like,
bottom lane and mid, they could just use to chip away at this, get the range maxes, and then I think they fall back for the Roshan number 4, and that'll be their way to maybe be able to break the melee Raxes. But that is just more time for Newbee to work with, right? Now it's time for them to be able to get that MKB off and see combined level 25 in that big upgrade talent. It's also time for the Morphling to get his Scotty upgrade, which is a series.
Just Resolution running in, he's got no friends around him. The Paralytic Stars will keep Naga away. Oh, wait, hang on, that's not the real Naga. Resolution, the Paralytic Stars bounce up again, so he doesn't instantly get away. Now the TP will start. You can see on a blink gonna get rushed, but he is denied.
He knows
he's sleeping on the job.
He knows it's impossible, but he tries anyway, you know? He's just like, oh, if I can only get close enough to even just duel.
I'll use the willpower of Optimus, and that's all I need to win this game, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. This line will prove to be such a power pickup by Resolution. Super interesting, but it's managed to have the impact multiple times, and it's killing this attempted Morphling replicant every single time he uses illusions. It's been killed by Resolution pretty quick.
That bloody Naga illusion. It already got down to the bottom, but the first range Drax has fallen. They tried to kill it off, but Newbee realized that with this illusion siege, they still have to stay together. They have to be ready for the DC attack. They also really want to crush it, but they can't reach their secret shot. Father has enough for the Lincoln, but he just can't get out there. How's that protect for the Emperor? It just doesn't exist yet. And SC's putting so much mana in order to control this push in the wave. He's got nothing left. He has to regenerate.
I don't think DC, this is so reminiscent of their match versus Wings. Game 2, right? They had the Knockout Siren, they had such a huge lead, and it got really, really sloppy by them. They almost threw out what they did in the close-down game, and it's beginning to look like that, right? Because Newbee, they're going to have range practice to get away. Then melee practice.
He's underneath the sentry wall. The Green Wave starts to attack him, and he realizes he's been.
One more range tracks is about mid to go down here in a couple of seconds. Unfortunately, the steering chain buys it a little bit more time, but it's just inevitable, right? You can't stop it. It's like the tide, man. These Knockout Siren Illusion.
They're always going to be comeback. Newbee has to come out at some point. Like, use the Blink Dagger, use KC, get that initiation. But now it's the bottom lane, the illusion push out up, and it's Weeha jumping in right on top of that melee frag. He doesn't actually get hit by the Maledict. They try to keep the distance, but they can't top crack. The illusions are still up. They bring down the range. Weeha back in the bottom. Here we go again. You'll set her up from. He wants the crush. He's well done. Everybody is passing. Now still coming back to find his line. Very little way falls forward. He gets almost out of range, and he does. The song of the Siren Fate. The beat single fly. Oh, shooting out the illusions is still all the lanes of wrap. Weeha will wait the trick. Can they kill the big one? The Aegis will. The help is there. The Luna's can hit pretty hard on the team. And Weeha goes looking for the bad target. So they almost have it. The sun down. He has one. We'll use it straight away, but they are still dying. He's trying to hold the top lane. He's doing his work to help out. He's retreating with the illusion. Just very strong. From LG out. It's over. With the back wall. Hold this top rank. The melee rank. He's down. It looks like Newbee. He's broken. Resolution set up the fight. Pull back out under the cover of Song of the Thunder. He looks like he wants to go. Who's looking for a target? It's Weeha. He dashed a BK. His 1 second time. He wants to fight. He wants to jump in here. That last little bit of mess with the ensnare on face. They jump ball into there. Weeha picks up the back line. Triple by back into the game. He's down. It's DC. They got nothing more in the tank. Here at least can have a game for SDC. Level's 1-1. What a pretty series it's been. Game 1 and Game 2, I would say, both had dominant storylines by the winning team, right? Game 1 looked very clearly like a Newbee victory. Same kind of goes with Game 2. But it was impressive how both times the loser of the game actually managed to draw things out. They were smart enough and quick enough and just had the innovation to be able to draw games out a little bit more. I mean, Newbee's execution in late game, the fact that they bought themselves even the sliverest of chances, you know, considering that gigantic lead by DC, was super impressive. And we have some terrific Dota, and there's more coming up. Game 3 after the break.
Christopher Gate used to be has been weaker. Yes, usually when a gate is blocked in, it the Christopher Gate used to be has been the Christopher Gate used to be has been weaker. Yes, usually when a gate is blocked in, it is weaker than the wall around it.
Or stronger.
It is weaker. Rashid has seen it.
That kind of
draft meta. It didn't go well for them. Second one, they tried it up something completely different. Maybe it's their backup plan. I don't know. I think game 3 is going to be different. I don't even think they'll be that. That similar.
A couple of the similarities between the two drafts. I think the main ones being Rubik and Legion Commander. And LC looked much better in that second game. Was that composition? Was it playstyle? What was it?
No.
A chance to talk about towards the end of the draft, of course, was the triple combo of Ember, Ursa, Invoker. Which ones do you ban, which ones don't you ban? We've seen it done both ways now, and actually we've seen it defeated both ways. So what was the difference?
Not too impressed with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
So is this Luna SD? Luna
SD.
Mirana?
SD already banned.
SD's gone.
Oh, SD's gone, yeah, of course, yeah. So yeah, maybe Mirana?
I like support.
You can also consider maybe like Timbersaw. I think we haven't seen too much of recently, but I think he might do pretty well in the one-on-one matchup versus Underlord. Is that matchup good?
I feel like it isn't, because Underlord just gets a little mana and he just casts a spell. And he probably trades really well too, just because he has so much damage on him. I feel like Underlord's good enough.
That's gone.
Alright, so 1v1 heroes left over, Darkseer is definitely an option. I'd say it's pretty good with Jug. I don't know if it beats Underlord, but I'd say it's at least trades well.
10 seconds
Simply on the
remaining.
punch twice now. One good game, one not
5
so good game.
seconds
Nah, but versus
remaining.
Not
these two,
really
I don't
great,
know.
is it?
Hey, I don't like it that much.
Reserve time.
Not yet, at least.
I think it's just safer if they grab a tri-lane that's really reliable. They just need like one other disable thing, or some other kind of disable, and Jug spin plus Rubik lift will kill just about anybody.
I always like CM too, I think.
Really? I don't know. She's been so. I think at the least it's way too early to pick her here.
I think they could roll with the Earth Spirit
10
side of
seconds
DC.
remaining.
I see what you did there.
I feel like it's not enough damage personally.
Remaining.
If Newbee gets ahead and they have a mech on Underlord, or Spirit doesn't have enough burst
Reserve
in him.
time.
You can kick people out of the Dark Crypt though, Perch.
That's a super sick point. I haven't seen an Underlord actually escape with his ult.
That's true. We've
It's
seen
like,
it. I mean,
It's like, let's move across the map together and try to take another tower. So, Newbee gonna be forced to take their pick here. I think they just go for really safe support. Even something like Benj I think would be really good.
Don't they want some sort of way to deal with the Juggernaut though? Right now, like, Ben's
true.
No problem.
Something with BKB Pierce basically is what they're thinking, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's not that many supports that do that now that are popular.
Instant stun is another solution. But again, picking it against Rubik, I don't think DC is too unhappy about that one.
Yep. But Mass Team Fight already. Digital Chaos kind of lacking in that area.
But the big thing about the Sanking pick here is that all of a sudden their tri-lane is pretty crap. Like Sanking tri-lane, level 1 Sanking, it shouldn't be very effective, especially with Luna. Those two heroes together I don't think are amazing laning stage combo wise.
So you're looking to aggro, put pressure on the Luna?
I think they definitely aggro now
Yeah.
with the Sanking pick, it's clear. So really they just need a good 1v1 matchup against Underlord, and then they need to predict their opponent's lanes, and then they're fairly set. Who's the last pick? Looks like Newbee will get the final pick in the game, which means that DC might have to go a little safe with their mid matchup because they won't necessarily know what their opponents have.
could they potentially throw an Undying into the tri-lane?
I don't think they need to, personally. I wouldn't necessarily say it's amazing against Luna either.
Yeah, it's a hero they like a lot, but
it's more of like an aggro dual lane hero than it is a tri-lane aggro dual lane. Or aggro tri. I think they just grab something safe. It's a lot of magic damage. Not really sure what the solution is.
Certainly taking the time here, buying right into the reserve. Pick up the slaughter, so
Could be slaughter.
this could be the misery slaughter, couldn't it? But
Sure.
very much so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
absolutely.
likely.
100% pick rate in the grand final. All 3 games. 2 for Newbee, 1 for Digital Chaos.
Gives them another really good disable option, and as long as Rubik's in range to lift
10
somebody,
seconds
they are
remaining.
super dead. So you're talking about 4 seconds of disable at level 1 plus like
5
400 some
seconds
magic damage from Jug
remaining.
Spin. They have more than enough to win the tri-lane.
is there any way to ensure that the Luna doesn't get matched up against that lane?
I mean, it all comes down to like smoking and TPing the lanes and putting wards down against, right?
Yeah. Or having a strong enough tri-lane that they're kind of dissuaded from doing that. I don't really see a support that can do that though.
I mean, for SCCC, is there any kind of hero that screams out to you? I mean, OD yet again is still there, something that was banned out towards the end of the draft. last game, and something that did do very, very well in game 1.
I feel like it doesn't really fit into their lineup right now. Maybe I'm wrong here, but
I feel like Quap or something would be way better.
Yeah, I like that.
Luna's like a lot of overlap in terms of late game potential, amount of farm that you need.
The way the team fights work out as well, it would just feel weird with Underlord too, because you'd be banishing a guy, but then you would maybe it'd work. Yeah, Witch Doctor's is a safer way. It's another tri lane is decent. Witch Doctor, Sand King, Luna. It's good stables. Pretty good right click.
Yeah, and it can also kind of save Luna too. I like the defensive heal on the Witch Doctor. They don't have the Shadow Demon to save, so you don't want to. You don't want Luna to die over and over the lane to like lift, spin, crush.
I mean, their lineup is really good at 5 lane right now with Witch Doctor, Underlord, Luna. That's for sure. If they get ahead, it should be a pretty clear-cut game. But I don't really feel that strong about DC's tri lane right now. I feel like it's about even. DC has been shown to outplay in tri lanes usually, but I feel it's all going to come down to the last 2 picks, I think. So Moon giving input on 1v1 matchups, I'm sure. It's not a terrible Legion game right now.
He just seems to really like that hero. Or Misery does.
It just solves so many issues.
Dark.
The Underlord Butts Express will be good against
You mentioned Darkseer earlier. And they have taken it in the second phase.
I think what I really like about the Darkseer here is it kind of guarantees that their tri lane will have a comeback mechanic even if they go a little rough, because if Darkseer just gets like a fast level 4, TP to the off lane, drop an Ion Shell Surge on somebody, that should be a kill.
And it's absolutely this hero as well that you kind of said that they needed. They needed someone that was going to be able to farm kind of a fast mech or pipe against the team fight and the magical damage that Newbee going to have. And Darkseer is certainly one of those heroes that can get that at speed.
And they can vacuum Stardust on too. That was really effective. Newbee had some great ones last game.
Interesting that Newbee banned out the sniper.
Where did that come from?
If they want to pick OD, Sniper is one of the better counters. Maybe if they like anticipate an OD, they can go with the Sniper.
But do you think there's a high chance that DC will just ban the OD hit?
I don't really think they're that scared of an OD personally.
They're not that burst heavy on DC right now. Yeah, Quap would have been really hard to deal with if their disables are kind of lacking here. Oh, that's how you do it.
Well, that's how you do it then.
That is. You make them ban out the counter.
You ban the counter when you take the hero. It's perfect. I mean, almost a BM ban.
That's really good against Newbee too. They're pretty stun focused, pretty single target burst kind of.
This is it's kind of a reflection of the start of the big bans when you got the Naga and the Meepo band and they took the Underlord from them.
Going back to SDC's pool, let's see what TA I think is not very good here, but he has played a lot in Invoker and SF. I think he can also.
Off draft number 3. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We will be back at the expert desk, of course, at the end of game 3. But now, let's head over to our commentary team of Capitalist and Toby 1 for game number 3.
And what a game to now start. Game number 3 of Newbee versus Digital Chaos. We're looking at a lot of fight. We're looking at a lot of action. And Newbee, well, you're on the money cap. You're looking for the SF as a 5th pickup for that mid matchup, and we've got our wish.
Yeah, I think between the two of us, we actually had those final bans and final picks pretty much covered. I think it was pretty easy for DC and Newbee to read each other and what was going to be happening here. And maybe this is going to be the first more even game. What got me so excited about game 1 and game 2, I love talking about this, is when you see like one team was very clearly ahead, right? But I don't
5 seconds remaining.
Necessarily either side. A responsible way they could in a lot of ways, right? Like strategically, I think that DC did what they had to do in game 1 to give themselves a chance. They had to do something kind of risky, and you know, it bought them a little bit of space. Same thing happened with Newbee in game number 2. So once we start actually seeing a more even game, a more even draft, a more even, or you know, early to mid game, we can actually really see where these teams match up against each other.
Well, for now, we'll get to focus on our early game as Misery as well as Kaka are going to play Ringer Rosie. Like ships in the night, they won't get to properly see each other. But this will just influence Kaka. Even if Misery shows himself, there might be a water round. In fact, are they going to come back in again? Yeah, Misery isn't visible at all to U9 where he is. He still hasn't planted down the Observer Ward. This is something else we were tossing up. Like when you have this aggressive trial lane, the DC were kind of looking to get even from the first 2 pickups. We're looking at this. Vision is going to be so critical for them.
Yeah, I think that's Digital Chaos, like you're looking at that draft and they gave away the Underlord. They do, I think they 100% knew what was going to be the picks. They grabbed Rubik. They're like, okay, Rubik's a strong pickup versus Luna, which they're very likely to get just because it's such a good core, and they also have that Underlord still out there. They're going to grab that hero as well. So I think they were probably thinking about, can we get this aggro tri-lane? The Sand King was taken away from them in the drafting phase, right? Newbee actually chose to third pick it and kind of blocked it away from DC, so we don't get to see that aggro tri-lane in that clear 1v1 that we saw from DC earlier, which is, I think, a big win for Newbee. I kind of told you that I think when you do this with the Underlord, right, and you are able to break the enemy team from going an aggro tri-lane and getting a strong 1v1, you're in a pretty decent advantage, because I think Underlord is probably the strongest offlaner out there right now. He's able to beat most 1v2s, and he's also, if you actually commit both supports as well as the core to trying to shove the Underlord out of lane, he's still able to jungle pretty efficiently as well. So it's like one of the few offlaners that just can always do something, and then he becomes super strong in the mid game. So it's this combination. He's like a Darkseer, but a little bit like steroided up. You know, like the sustain that is offered to him, he also gets the mech, but then it's just the combination of these team fight abilities as well as this big aura, and maybe the ultimate comes into play as well, that he just offers you that bigger boost in team fight. So I think, like, once you're able to break that, right, you have this strong lane that's always going to work for the Underlord most likely, and he's going to have really good mid-game impact. You kind of won in that regard. But DC still have this, you know, they were still able to fall back on, okay, we'll just do a regular lane, right? We'll have a pretty strong tri-lane that can actually kill the Underlord. Rubik into a Slardar, into a spin from the Juggernaut. They'll also be able to have some good roaming power. The Rubik and Slardar are a powerful duo that can actually gank up the mid lane and keep the SF down. They could even potentially rotate up to the top lane, where we can have like Darkseer back away from his lane, preemptively set up Ion Shells, and who knows, maybe they can actually get some action there.
Yep.
They can still win when it comes to the roaming power of their heroes, even though I think the Underlord was a big win for Newbee in the kind of like static laning phase.
Gotta love those Weeha fans out there in the crowd. There's a hell of a lot of them, but we're back into the game after our quick pause. A couple of recorrects, and we are back up and running. So for now, even with the lane switch around, actually looks like DC are going to commit to this 2-1-2 style of having Moon up on the top, a rotating Misery, a mid Weeha, and then a Resolution on the bottom lane with the Rubik. And Newbee, they got a bit of a glimpse with the maneuvering of the Slardar, so they understand a little bit of how these lanes are going to function, but they're actually, well, it's just Witch Doctor moving down to the bottom lane for now. I don't know if he's really going to hang around for too long.
And what I like about the Juggernaut in particular is that I think it's one of the better heroes that can sit in a lane and not have to worry about too much about the Underlord, so it does free up the Rubik Slardar to make these rotations. They are going to have to be very clean on the rotation up at that top lane, because Newbee kind of showed up their third pick Sand King with this really strong laner in the Witch Doctor, and Faith has had some amazing plays on the Witch Doctor. His paralyzing cast seem to always get max bounces. I don't know how he does it, but he just seems to do it every single time.
We always count the Witch Doctor as the one hero who has two ultimates. One's the paralyzing cask and one's the Death Ward, and sometimes the paralyzing cask is more effective.
Yeah, and so like even if the Sand King isn't the most effective laning hero in the beginning as a support, they still have Luna and Witch Doctor who are quite strong. So if they make
maneuver coming in from the Rubik, they've taken out that small little camp with the Sentry Ward. It may be a bit of a sacrifice because the support's moving for this, but Moon gets caught out up on the top lane. They start with the Burrow Strike, you've still got the paralyzing cast, there's no bounce to work with, but it may not matter. You don't have to lose the beam, you've got the Lunar Blast, a lot of physical damage coming in from this. At the same time, Rubik, who blocks the camp for the offlane of the Lord, sniped out the mid-courier.
Yeah, that's definitely a big pickup, because SC, he's pretty reliant, I think, on being able to get this bottle. The extra sustain is going to be needed. He's going to run out of these tangos and healing cells eventually, because the OD in the early levels is going to be able to do a decent amount of harassment. Once SC gets to level 5, though, the SF fares a lot better against the OD because he just double nukes the wave. Doesn't even really need to get too close. But in this small window, because he's going to be lacking that sustain, it does also open up the
Absolute. And he's already had the camp block. This is, like, we talked about. They're going to go again. More TP support coming in, but actually with that TP, Misery decides not to make the run. He actually had Sprint on cooldown as well, but that's KP TPing into the mid lane to protect the SF. That's a big sacrifice, unless they can find an opening, and they can, because Kaka is rotating in. Weeha, he's still got the Astral Imprisonment, but SD's got the nukes available, so he'll Astral. Wait a second, SD, maybe you don't want to stand right on top and take the damage, but it won't matter anyway. SD will get the kill, take the damage, and that is 2-0 now on the kill board in favor of Newbee.
AP kind of doing like the only thing he can, right? You shove that mid lane. It's interesting, like people see this block of the off-lane camp and be like, oh, but they used to do that all the time. This isn't a particular innovation. But since the change in 7.0 and the 2-minute camps, it's a lot slower to respawn. People haven't really been focused on blocking camps very often. So this is something that DC have taken that like next step level of thought, right? It's like, oh, we can actually still block this and keep the Underlord at bay. D is able to jungle. He moves over to the other side of the camp, but this still again opens up. If the Underlord is completely away from his off lane, he's away from his off lane neutral camps as well. It means the two supports are very much free to either stack and pull really efficiently, or they can go for that roaming that we've talked about a couple times.
Well, I'm watching that roaming from Misery. He's up again at the 4-minute mark to take yet again another bounty rune from the bottom. So they're able to secure like 3 out of the 4 bounty runes in favor of DC as Kaka hopes for an opening on Weeha. And maybe with the cover of nighttime, Kaka can get close enough, but Misery has the better rune. He's got the action invis.
This could be big. SF though is unlikely to be in too bad of a position with this level 5. Yeah, he's just normally just gonna double nukes these waves. They're actually going to still try this Ion Shell play. They've got the invis for a little bit longer. With this invis, they could potentially close on one of these heroes. It doesn't look like it's going to happen though. They head back up to the top lane. Kaka's sitting and he's going to try and rotate behind Williander and catch him.
Blood's going to find him. In fact, Kaka starts taking damage from an Ion Shell. He might want to what's from. Strike is forward. Cross over on 2. Support coming in from the Rubik. He's got telekinesis as well. They get the quick loot to VMOS, so at least it's a 1-for-1 trade-off. But it's 2-9 to Luna. Found in no man's land. Won't run away. Kaka, the Burrow strike to Babel. He doesn't get to. Misery wrapped around the back. He still keeps that body block going. As maybe the Rubik, as he has the distance. They don't have the loot available for now. The more TP sports coming in with the loot and beam from U9. He buys space for Kaka with a TP. Misery goes to light and tower. No, it's too early. Wow. He actually can't lose TP and U9 is away.
The Ion Shell just runs out a bit too late. They couldn't get enough damage onto U9, so then U9 no longer becomes a target. He turns and tries to get that crush, but U9 turned around and got the perfect time loose and beam. That bit of mini stun stopped Misery from being able to get off the slithering crush that would have probably killed Kaka's Sand King.
Man. Huge plays from Newbee. We know they love to dive. We saw it earlier today when they dive into the tier 1 tower of the Radiant side safe lane. But they do it once again as a team.
KP is beginning to recover, level 4, as his Underlord Moonbeam has been able to achieve a bit more. He's about to pick up his level 6 as the Darkseer, and he'll have a quicker progression into his mech as well. The mid lane matchup does seem to be going pretty well for SC. He's 34-9 compared to the 29-6 of the OD, but he still has to fear. I think he's reached the right time to start abandoning the lane and play jungle more. He knows how powerful the Rubik Slardar combination is going to be, and they have all the reason to jump on the mid lane. So I like the fact that he kind of abandons this, gives it to Kaka, because if they commit the resources to kill a level 3 Sand King, it's not a big deal. Newbee will just kind of shrug that one off.
When they saw the Observer Ward sitting in mid, they knew they didn't want to go for that, and instead they just rotate down to the board. He only had 300 HP to start with, and now he's down to 0. Great rotation from DC, and now they'll add the pressure into the tier 1. But it's a trade-off as SC pushing the top tower with U9 and fight together.
Yeah, with this double damage and the extra help of the Lunar flashing.
Landed Moonlanders into serious trouble. He actually hoped the illusions of the Dark Steel Wall would soak up a little bit more of that Eclipse.
Not enough, and now they can actually keep up the pressure as the tier 1 tower of theirs. The top lane is going to be lost, but they'll get a lot of chip in this tier 2 before DC can rotate.
Israel will be very thankful he can get any more of that firestorm. Very low life from the bot lane.
Resolution fortunately has the necessary sustain because of the healing ward to be able to deal with any harassment that KP can put out. So again, DC can just leave Resolution in this bottom lane. It's a dense scenario, right? Because Newbee can't rotate their supports. That's the thing about their supports, is they're kind of bad at making these rotations. Kanka had some successful rotations early, but I think it was in part because he snowballed off the 2 kills on Moon Meander. He was able to get fast boots and almost had fast tranquil boots. Those were a bit delayed though. And because of that movement speed advantage, his Sand King looked a lot better, but ultimately they're not heroes that are going to be able to gank. Right?
No ward for you, Witch Doctor. OD comes and denies us mid. Oh, look at the quick fire of Wee. Now we know Wee's already been giving us the Vanguard on the Invoker, but he's looking at one of the newly changed items, which is Rod of Atos.
Bring around the Rosie fade. He's trying to shoot.
He's got the ultimate.
Not going to happen.
On the side space. Oh, now did it! Bounce down the last one to the SK. SC's the neighborhood. Resolution. I don't want to get in too deep here. It's 5 heroes from Digital Chaos under the tier 1 tower.
They're pushing back. They know the Eclipse is still on cooldown, so I think DC were trying to take advantage of that. Make a rotation, get a pick, and then they can easily take this mid tier 1 tower. But unfortunately, looks like SC's nukes are enough to push DC back.
That's actually so big for New because they still had U9 as well as KP on the side lanes getting experience and farm. For a 5-man committal when you don't get a kill and you don't get a tower.
And we almost have that Helmet Dominator for U9, so he'll be able to have that extra presence around the map. Newbee making very aggressive rotation. I love how active they're playing him. They're just not just parking him in the mid lane.
SC, all he needs is that Burrow Strike to connect, then the Razors will do the work. Hits once, then actually maybe with the one charge and the saving of the Weeha. Best of imprisonment, SC will see it. He's in range for the short range Razor. Oh, too early! He'll still hit him in the trees. The committal of the Death Lord from base just to make sure. But maybe Misery, in through the rear, they don't have the Shrine to trigger.
We're seeing this build all the time. OD, I think Queen takes another hero that really benefits from it. Having the Strength Tread and then being able to pick up and infuse Raindrop as well as a Magic Wand makes these heroes that are normally looked at as pretty squishy a little bit unnaturally tanky. And we saw that from that reaction. They definitely thought, oh, this is going to be easy kill on the OD, but he almost got away.
Almost, but almost wasn't enough. Newbee is still happy with that kill, and they're going to add that pressure now down to bottom lane. Pushing it around, and Misery understands he has to slither himself away. This is not a fight he is wanting to take.
I think this is fine for DC though.
As long as they can get something in return. But now the tier 1 tower mid lane hasn't taken that much damage. Fortification will buy some space and time for them to get that push going.
What they're setting up is DC are making these rotations from the supports. They know Newbee are going to take this tower and then try and TP rotate to save their mid tier 1. But if they do that, they're going to be very much exposed because DC are just going to wrap real quick and kill the first hero that TP's in. So Newbee,
they're coming in with the help of the Pit Lord. And back to the tier 2 tower.
It's still the fact that they couldn't TP onto the tier 1, right? Because they knew DC was preemptively set up, so they had to TP onto the tier 2, so it was the same result.
Yep. There's still for a tower and a lot of space for U9.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's space for U9, but I still feel like that's a better situation for DC, just because I put more value in the mid tier 1 over safe lane towers in general.
SC's got his first initiation item, so he's got the Shadow Blade flying out in the current Prius. It's only 11 minutes in. A very high net worth Shadow Fiends. Now with the ability to close distance and a very quick hook as well from Newbee. They want to try and capitalize on this new item timing. And they may get the opportunity. Resolution's walking down the hill. They're going to have to wrap all the way around, however, if they're going to catch him by surprise. All the move to top lane as he just showed himself, and Newbee in a fantastic position for this. How long does we stick around? Not too long. They've found him. The fire strikes there. Raises. Death Ward. A little bit overcommittal, but it makes sure that DC can't catch him up to him in time and do anything about it.
Yeah, Fifth knows he's not going to see too many opportunities for Death Ward in the early game, so he's fine with blowing it. And it's also not too long of a cooldown. Kanka, that connecting with these ganks are pretty important for him because even if it's physical, he needs to start progressing towards that Blink Dagger. They don't have a hard form of initiation. That's the one thing about Underlord is that because you're picking up a heavy sustain hero as an offlane, you need to make up for the initiation from your core.
Omni Slash, it bounced back into the creeps! Another unlucky little bounce. He was pushing his luck on it anyway. At top lane, a lot of TPs coming in from DC. Newbee, they had the pressure, they forced a reaction from DC, and now they back up.
It's really remarkable how similar these lineups are, right? You have, in the mid lane, two scaling mids that are looking more Glass Cannon style for both DC and Newbee. Their offlaners, they both chose to pick up like more of the sustain, the early mech option, rather than an initiator, which means they had to make up for that, picking up 4 positions that the initiation for them. Misery is much closer to his Blink Dagger, though. He is actually going to have his Blink well before.
And that's what we're looking for from Newbee, that big 5-man group up. Comes in from just the presence of and that's what we're looking for from Newbee, that big 5-man group up. Comes in from just the presence of and that's what we're looking for from Newbee, that big 5-man
force that punishes DC's move.
God of Atos is now completed over on Weehunt. Another one of those items which potentially can control up Newbee with the task, but Earth Strike, all these things together, and the sustain. I really want to see if DC find an opening more than anything else. Maybe that's when we look to see the vision that's currently on the map. For DC, they do actually have some really good defensive vision around their secret shop as well as inside their own river, and one nice aggressive observer wall just on the upper side of the Roche pit.
I'm feeling like these aggressive wards, there's just not enough up from Newbee, so DC, knowing how important this initiation is going to be, they're going to group up, they're going to go for the smoke. They're still going to try and they think show Weehunt somewhere on the map, so it makes this, oh wow.
They're actually going to try this. The question is, does DC realize it? They smoked in, we've got one little mud golem running inside the pit. He spoils the whole thing. This is going to be so bad. He comes Weehunt, he gets stunned. Darcy pulls it down, but here comes Bongo. Fire and strike, already the Dark Vision's got to center against the old shot. Now they actually have the fight. The Newbee was looking for with the Death Ward down to the ulti. It'll do some work, but not really enough yet. As Roshan is so low, they want to finish the job. The Darkseer will not looking more confident, that's really just a farmer. The Egg with the Immortal goes to SC, plus the kill on Roshan to Newbee. Oh man, I thought that was going to be really bad for
have that. So maybe it's better for me to be able to stop this initiating force instead of going for the big play inside of the pit. Obviously, the fight did not go well for DC, but I have no way of knowing, right? If like maybe it was a good call and it was just a bad fight in general. Maybe he jumps in and that's exactly what happens. A 2 or 3 man burrow strike comes out from Kaka.
There was 2 people that made the same call because Saxa was right on the same time. So the second that crush hit, the telekinesis connected, so they didn't actually get their full duration control on the SK. That's why you could quickly follow up into that burrow strike, and you're like, okay, well you crushed this target, but then he's already back in and controlling up the team fight.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe if Misery lets Saxa be able to control.
Have no quick mech, no space. T1 tower will fall as we are underway.
DC going to have to play
play the game. Yeah, Lucian's going to get on top lane, so there's some kind of trade-off here.
Yeah, I think they're just going to have to protect their tier 2s on the side lanes via heavy split pushing.
It's just so, the push is too hard. Even when you come in close, you just then start bumping up 2-9. The imprisonment will be there. Paralyzing cast will cause a couple of problems. A lot of pain stuff here. Let's get the hit him out. It holds him out. Red push into the spin. Misery gets the amplification over on U9. They're all just backing up Newbee. A good reaction. Eighth may be the casualty here, but his paralyzing cast gets back off the pool. He'll come out in the imprisonment here. See what's going to do in the first screen to start with. Faith, where's that paralyzing cast? It never comes out, and now you've actually got that rod of Aethos route onto the SF. You get up the hill. The pit is just KP creating space. He's out. Want to fight now.
Yeah, there's no reason to. They've got Kaka about to finish up a Blink Dagger, and he also needs to hit his level 9 so he can actually level up Epicenter and have that initiation opportunity. So I think it's much smarter for Newbee to back away from that engagement. In fact, I was even surprised they got close to the Witch Doctor. I thought they were just going to be like, all right, see you later, buddy. We're definitely not helping you out there. But they do need to be careful. The Rod of Aethos, it's easy to misjudge the range of this item. Like, it's really good in snare now. I think it's a great value item for the OD. It allows you to be able to have this extra catch that can, just get the extra hero. If Misery gets a good initiation with his crush, they kill one, then maybe Weeha's Rod of Aethos into an Astral Imprisonment allows them to be able to catch 2, similar to the way a Disruptor works.
Speaking of initiation, that's the next place to look, is down towards Rubik, who just picked up a smoke. And to team up with the Slar's Blink Dagger, try and get Misery onto the front lines, get that quick pick, as Newbee might start to split themselves across the map, which they've been doing quite a hell of a lot. And in fact, SC is already coming back. He was crossing over the river, so it's more just the efficiency farm TP back. So DC have to look for these openings, bring a little bit of space, and let that OD continue to escalate.
I'm not sure if Newbee want to go for tier 2s just yet. I think they need to wait for the BKB on the SF and then the Luna Manta. They'll have really good...
Got the vision, Blink Crush forward, going over on Kaka, but there's a lot of friends behind.
Yeah. That's the thing, is Newbee always seem to be able to have these lineups that allow them to push out side lanes while still maintaining a 5-man vigil. And that allows them to be able to, if they can take an early lead, thanks to some of their aggressive maneuvers as a team, if they can take that lead, then they have very few times where they leak away any extra goal due to picks, because they just stay this constant 5-man. There's no easy openings for DC to make that recovery.
Where are we to? Underlord is going, it's down to bottom lane, so they're just going to start pushing towards the bottom tier 2 tower. Just hovering around that early pickup, but Slardar cutting ahead is corrosive haze on the any hero. There's no big burst damage now. Slardar deflects the 1-2 get burst. There's
just try and get as much damage on the tier 2 top in exchange.
the extra trade levels.
Yeah, they're committing like all 3 of their cores to taking this tier 2 tower. Meanwhile, Newbee took that bottom tier 2 without Unite, who's just kind of like doing some ancient farming and general farm efficiency, because he knows he just needs to make the best of the space that's created for him.
And that farm efficiency is paying off. 6,000 golden experience is now the advantage for Newbee. So not a bad figure to have. 19 minutes in for a bit of a lower kill game than we're used to. 14 kills over the course of almost 20 minutes.
If so, he's feeling pretty lackluster. He's got only 82, he's got the blink trigger now, but
maybe he'll feel a little bit more confident once he's got that second maneuverability item. Like having Blink plus Atos, finishing up the range item to have that full Hurricane Pike to go with the Dragon Lance, through the Dragon Lance.
So we've got the Manta pretty soon for 9, so the combination of Underlord and Manta Luna, these side lanes really should never be able to threaten a tier 2 tower again, unless Newbee is making some sort of really efficient play. DC, what do they do here? Because they're not going to be able to really heavily split push. I don't think they're prepared to be able to defend their tier 2s, but again, it is last remaining tier 2. You can't give up that that the Sand King instead telekinesis in, throws away from the team, and then the rest of them bundle into the pit. Maybe that's a huge win for team. That was pretty cool. Really surprising. Like, I'm sure DC were like, wait, what? Where the 2 heroes are still in the top lane. They make the free gank in, manage to pick up the Darkseer as well as the Slardar and still get out because of this BKB.
And you can see the reaction time. He's sitting there with the sentry. Yes, we're still 2 minutes away from daytime, so the vision was very, very tight. But still, Digital Chaos losing heroes like this now gives Newbee even more map control. DC, well, that's Moon TPing out to the shrine right behind KP.
Yeah, he wants to stop this bottom lane push, and they want to maintain control of their jungle. They can't give up the shrine. Like I was saying, like they can't give up tier 2 because it just means the shrine starts disappearing.
They found base. It's more of a sacrifice than anything else. Basically, trying to get that Maledicts off and any kind of off, and yeah, that ain't happening. And in fact, all he did is actually give it over to the Rubik.
I think DC have to be very precise with their movement. Can't afford any pickoffs or anything like that, and they have to always be able to read what Newbee's plan is in order to keep this bottom shrine up. In some ways, it's inevitability that they're going to make that mistake, or Newbee are just going to be able to outposition them, get into the smoke game, and then turn that into an advantage that promises that tier 2's destruction. But it's such a critical point of map control in a lineup that DC is still, they're not ready to fight, and they're also not ready to just sit in their base and let gold trickle into them. They need to be able to farm, but Newbee is very rapidly looking like they're going to push in all of the lanes constantly. They're going to be able to farm to their heart's delight, take Roshan, whatever they need to. It's beginning to look like the way DC was controlling Game 2, actually, with that Naga Siren.
Roshan is actually where Newbee's looking now. I've watched this Alpha Wolf, which is currently sitting inside the pit, trade owners 3 times. It started on the Luna, then Resolution got hold of it, and then it went back over to the Luna. Is currently scouting for Newbee. The battle of the Doms. Newbee looking in a very, very good position if DC want to fight this, and everyone, like it's all 10 players hovering around this mid lane.
I'm not sure if they have enough of this team fight power. Like, they have to get a really good blink vacuum into the blink crush, the wall set down, Sweetheart gets a couple of big clicks in and maybe drops the sanities of Clips.
Well, we'll find if they can get the position against Newbee, who are the ones that broke up to start with. They're going to wrap around, they found their target, Resolution, a big one, but he gets away, undercover has been. Oh, there it is! Winding up the ultimate, and just instantly back, but Odie has successfully imprisoned. It's the only way to save off himself, but now it's still not enough. Straight to the dashboard, it does work, the only fast, however, final Resolution gets some damage out, the penalty can't, negated by the spin, but Moon is trapped in the tree line, trying to get away with the Burrow Strike. Kaka puts himself actually almost trapped with a small path to freedom, allowing now Moon to run away, and again Kaka missing the blink. He doesn't get down to Moon. That could have actually been a lot more of a catastrophe for DC.
Oh, I mean, DC, they hit like that perfect kind of initiation. Moon Meander saw the opening, despite the fact that the Juggernaut had been forced away. He said, this is a good shot. We need to be able to try and fight around this shrine. He goes for this beautiful vacuum into the crush, into the OD ultimate being dropped. But ultimately, the sustain of the Underlord does make a big difference. He pops the heal. None of these heroes are low enough for them to be able to quickly kill. The Luna's able to really get off this big eclipse. He keeps most of DC at bay.
Same thing to see, like the second that damage reduction, like, oh, what's DC going to do now? Yeah. But you had nothing to do, and the only thing they really had was the Juggernaut battling with the heroes so far away, like the corrosive haze on them, that they had enough damage to get through.
Careful Resolution.
They're trying to trade over the game now. It's actually the Rubik. Yeah, greatest thing in the world, but
still means Roshan free though.
Unless they would have crack at it. DC didn't have vision of the defense.
It's tough. DC is being like, okay, we do have to contest them, but civilly, it's an impossible task sometimes to contest them. Opening that they determined this is the fight we take. It's a tricky game that DC is playing, picking and choosing their fights like this, because split pushing is just not, it's not going to be enough. You know, they can't just play a split push game and be happy with that. The power of the Underlord allows you to be able to quickly find man into objectives and then still back up as a team. Like DC to reinforce an engagement, defending, you just pop your ultimate, go to that side lane that's being pushed in, and you've got some free chip damage at least.
9 was hovering around the top. I think he might have had an opening, but not quite. They'd have to bring a lot of help to him in the form of probably the Underlord's TP.
No, it's funny, the last time that DC faced up against this Underlord, it was kind of a similar scenario. They did everything they could to be able to counter this hero, but then we saw in like they had this fight around the mid-tier 1 tower that the Underlord was still so good that until they got a really good initiation and everything, the Underlord made such a big difference in the team fights. And they even picked up certain heroes similar. I think they had both an Ursa and an OT, heroes that are able to provide extra sources of damage that are not reduced by the atrophy aura. You know, OD is able to obviously do a lot with his arcane orbs, and then Ursa had his fury swipes.
Good ways around it. They still need to survive long enough to actually get the damage for the fight. And the Underlord is still only one piece of this very large puzzle that Newbee is. So DC, for now they're keeping the Chaos Pro. For now they're just staying on their side of the river, keeping the farm up, and they're waiting for Newbee to make the big play. But Newbee is starting to pull in more items. So you had that butterfly, which just got picked up over on the ESL.
Wow. Just out of misery.
He's still going to get hit, just spinning up. Aztec in the ground in a second with the spin, they push it down a little bit further forward with the 4-star. And it's just retreat now for DC if they can. The Fire Strike again. Karka goes in, loses the team in defensive Christmas. This kind of just a wait the time down. AP trying to catch the back line. SK with Fire Strike up, but the attack is there. Still more going down. The wall, but where's the damage? SC rips the ulti out. Turns it over on Sweetheart. There's a double kill for SC. They're starting to farm up the illusions in the wall. And it's also time to move to the mid lane.
A slight misread there. I think KP was a bit out of position. Resolution thought maybe I can actually just Omni-slash this hero and then spin as I kill him. I spin and run back and I'll just be able to get away. But unfortunately, the rest of Newbee were able to get there in time. All of a sudden, it's Omni-slash comes and goes deeper and deeper into Newbee's team. And that just kind of forced Moonman to make a initiation.
But the difficult had to win his fight with the own now finding a buyback, they jump forward, and he tried making his ground over, he's got the Aegis, BKB through 9 triggers, and with a power down, the Glazard is down, there's going to be a lot of damage going through the... And it's easy, especially when Kark... And it's got beyond godlike, claim the mid-rank, and now with all the tier 2 towers down, you know what they're going to do? They're going to just get and actually get GG call out from DC. Very efficient, very crisp from Newbee.
I think DC learned a pretty important lesson. Last night they played against the Underlord, they got about 1v1 in that game. In a certain team fights, it looked pretty good.